Parliament from the Congress. Listen in.
We are very much abiding the rules of this country every time. Whenever the COVID started, we are the party totally abide by the corona guideline. But here, clearly a double standard of BJP, you can see that. Every day Prime Minister is doing rally. 2 days before only he done a rally in Tripura. Whether the Health Minister wrote a letter to the Prime Minister. He is asking Bharat Jodo Yatra to be stopped. That itself is a clear indication of the success of Bharat Jodo Yatra. This is a certificate for Bharat Jodo Yatra success. Therefore, we are very much aware of this fact.
Why are we once again putting politics over public health? And by doing so, aren't we risking, again, millions of lives? Haven't we learned anything over the last 2.5 years, viewers? The self-destructive streak that we all seem to demonstrate from time to time is going to cost. We cannot be casual. And I want to open this up. Dr. Shankar Guha, leader of the Congress from Bangalore, is with us. Lokesh Jindal, another leader of the Congress, is with us. Sanju Verma, the national spokesperson of the BJP, is there with us. I want to bring them in first into this conversation. And then expert Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, chairperson of Nephron, to shed light on the gravity of this situation. Dr. Shankar Guha, it's a very simple question. Why is Rahul Gandhi talking about bahanas and trivializing, or excuses and trivializing, the very considered response of the government? All the government is saying is, please mask up, please carry out some random testing in your rally. You have a great responsibility. Why trivialize this? Why deny that we face a genuine threat by suggesting, oh, this is all part of an attempt to derail the rally, to stop it? No one is stopping it, sir.
Good evening, Rahul, to you, to all the panelists and to the viewers. The history, if you go back and see what has happened earlier, obviously we feel the doubt. In this example itself, right now, a letter has reached Bharat Jodo Yatra asking them to take appropriate precautions, whatever. Whereas in Karnataka, day in and out, BJP is performing Janasankalp Yatras. Why no similar directions have been issued to them? And as our MP said, the Prime Minister is attending so many yatras and rallies every day. You bring in, as a healthcare professional before politics, I totally accept that we have to take necessary precautions, we have to be prepared, we have to give a great deal of concern to public health. If you are bringing in a set of rules, let them be general and to the entire population. Why are you targeting only one person? What is the need for that? Why didn't you send a similar letter to Janasankalp Yatra of the BJP in Karnataka?
Do you know,
are they
Dr.
immune
Guha,
to COVID, this particular variant?
Dr. Guha, do you know that the Jan Akrosh Yatra planned by the BJP in Rajasthan has been called off? Do you know this? Do you know this?
Sir, in Karnataka it is going on.
Sir, I'm only asking you.
The Janasankalp
Precautions
Yatra
have been
in Karnataka
taken.
is going on. Do you know that?
A letter was sent yesterday. Today, guidelines have been issued. Rahul Gandhi, all he needs to say is, okay,
no, the Karnataka BJP
no, one
has not got
second.
it.
He can make that point. He can even say, why am I being singled out? But what do you mean by saying that this is all a bahana? Talk about COVID is a bahana. Do you think this is responsible? Do you know the amount of people who will be following what he has said? And do you know, when our reporters asked a large number of fellow yatris, they said, there is no COVID. This is all a scheme. In fact, look at what Jairam Ramesh has tweeted today, sir. You know what he has tweeted? Have you seen his tweet?
Rahul, let me give you another example, if I can.
Please go ahead, sir.
Can I quote one more example, Rahul?
Yeah.
In the third wave of the
listen
Omicron,
to me. This is what Jairam Ramesh said. Listen to me, sir.
Let me just finish this.
Allow
me to just finish.
Bharat Jodo Yatra will enter Delhi after a day. Now you understand the chronology. This is what, in July, September and November, 4 cases of Omicron sub-variant BF.7 were reported in Gujarat and Orissa. The Minister of Health wrote a letter yesterday to Rahul Gandhi PM is reviewing the situation today. Bharat Jodo Yatra will enter Delhi after a day. Now you understand the chronology. Chronology samjhiye. Now viewers, I want you to see these pictures. These are being beamed out of China. Let's show these pictures. What is going on here? You see, all variants reach a criticality, after which they become unstoppable. It is true, viewers, the BF7 variant has been detected in this country. For some reason, it hasn't put people in body bags in the numbers we are seeing in China. There could be a very different set of reasons. But as I began by saying, do we want to risk it? Do we want a public health disaster? An event like Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra has the potential of becoming a super spreader. You already have had the Himachal Chief Minister going back infected. All the government is saying is, let's not land ourselves where China is today. We will have to have restrictions. We will again have to work from home. Businesses will again shut down. There will be all sorts of lockdowns, etc. And where will we be, viewers? With our economy that is a global bright spot today, we'll be pushed back. Is someone wanting this deliberately to score some points? That's my fundamental question, Lokesh Jindal, and I will bring in Sanju Verma right after. Lokesh Jindal, explain to me, why would someone talk so callously about chronology, samajhiye, bahana hai? All you need to do is mask up. What's the big deal? I am wearing a mask today all over office. All my colleagues are masked up today.
Hi Rahul, well, the track record of this government is responsible for such form of an attitude. If I talk about 2021, even when the guidelines had been issued in March, but still there was campaigning taking place in West Bengal, and I have pictures. I mean, in the mid of the peak of guidelines issued about COVID, you can see Amit Shah campaigning for the elections. There were no masks that were worn by any of the BJP personnel. The point is, if the government is serious, it must show its seriousness with respect to following the guidelines. And right now, if you look at the letter, let me tell you the wordings of that letter that has been issued. The letter says that in accordance to the letter received by 2 members of Parliament and the concerns that have been raised that COVID is being spread because of Bharat Jodo Yatra. Now, the very wording of this letter is political. Now, when you are pursuing, when you are reacting to such an issue, such a form of a challenge politically, you are going to get a political response. The government, its modus operandi, the manner in which it communicates its message is pathetic. It doesn't know how to deal with such crisis, how to give out a strong message, how to make people abide by the rules. The point is, when the government is going to act politically, when it will only target the markas, when it will only target the farmers sitting on the anti-farm laws, when it will only target, I mean, the corona is very much pro-government, so wherever the government rally occurs, the corona is not going to infect anybody, but whenever the opposition is going to conduct a rally, it is a super spreader. Such form of illogical and irrational forms of generalizations are going to make people take any of these guidelines non-seriously. So it is the government's fault. It must.
So you're saying that the Congress party from top to bottom is so unaware of the situation in China that they are willing to trivialize it, because
no, we are aware
the center is
of what
playing
is happening
politics.
In China.
The center, even while it's playing politics, sir, is telling you to mask up. You are playing politics by denying that there is any COVID variant. That is absurd and that is irresponsible. You can say, we know your game. We know what you're trying to do. You're trying to scare people not to attend this yatra. We know. But still, we will call your bluff. We will have everyone masked. We will send out a message. Welcome. But Lokesh Jindal, your leader says, ये तो सब बहाना है, COVID है ही नहीं.
No.
Chronology देखिए, अरे भाई, I've read out their tweets to you.
In that case,
so you're playing down the threat.
The Bharat Jodo Yatra will be taking due care.
Sir, where is it taking care? Look at the scenes. These are from today. And listen to your, I'll play Rahul Gandhi's bite again, in case you have missed it. Listen to this, viewers. This is Rahul Gandhi today, unmasked, amongst a multitude, a horde of leaders, one chap here, the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh, who landed up with half his cabinet, goes back and tests positive. And in fact, the session there had to be postponed. Now watch this. Look at these pictures and listen to Rahul Gandhi once again, and I'll bring in Sanju Verma and I'll ask her. Let's listen in first.
अब यात्रा को रोकने के लिए बहाने बन रहे हैं, अब मास्क पहनो, यात्रा बंद करो, कोविड फैल रहा है, सब बहाने हैं.
Viewers, not one person has called upon Rahul Gandhi to stop his yatra. All that is being said is, please observe the protocol, and in case you are not capable of doing so, then perhaps you can take a call on suspending. The onus is on Rahul Gandhi. If he wants to squander it, then that's a different matter. But nonetheless, let me bring in the BJP's national spokesperson, Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, the charge is that you're selective. The charge is that there is a yatra going on in Karnataka. No letter has been written to the Chief Minister of the state or the person who's leading that yatra. There is also Jan Akrosh Yatra that you claim has been cancelled, but others in the BJP are saying it will continue. However, we will observe COVID protocols, etc. So why single out this gentleman, Rahul Gandhi? That's the question.
Okay, Rahul, first and foremost, let me put a couple of things out there in the public domain. The Jan Akrosh Yatra, which was being fronted by the Rajasthan BJP chief Satish Punia, has been cancelled, and there is a letter from the BJP top boss within the organization, Arun Singh, to that effect. Also, the Jan Sankalp Yatra in Karnataka started from Raichur in October 2022. The Jan Sankalp Yatra was supposed to resume in November 2022 from Udupi. But because of the Karnataka-Maharashtra problems surrounding Belgavi, for the last couple of weeks, the Jan Sankalp Yatra has been in suspended mode. So the person here who's saying that the Jan Sankalp Yatra is still underway is lying through his teeth. Point number one. Point number two. If you look at the fine print of the letter, be the one given by Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan to 35 states and union territories, or if you look at the fine print of the letter by Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia to Rahul Gandhi, the letters clearly state that at this point in time, you need to mask up, you need to use sanitizers, you should ensure that the people in the Bharat Jodo Yatra are vaccinated with at least 2 doses. The participants should be isolated prior to and after a certain period of time after joining the yatra. In case you are not able to follow the aforesaid COVID appropriate behavior, then in the larger interests of public health emergency, we ask you to suspend, postpone the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Tell me what is so political about this? And Rahul, please allow me 30 seconds because I heard a long barrage of allegations by the Congress panelist here. First and foremost, please stop pointing fingers at the BJP saying, oh, we've not learnt any lessons. We learnt our lessons. Every single day during the COVID second wave, I was on Rahul Shivshankar's show, at least every alternate day, and I know the facts that we say.
For the deaths
I did not heckle you. I did not heckle you, Rahul.
I
did not heckle this man.
For that?
Can you please moderate the debate?
You can come back in with the question. Let her finish, please. She didn't interrupt you even once. She was very disciplined. Maintain that. Yes.
Thank you, Rahul. Now, I will not take too long, but I think there are some people, who have this habit of taking the moral high ground and peddling gibberish. So let me tell you this. Till date, more than 220 crore vaccine doses have been administered. Till 2 days back, the active caseload was barely 0.01. Our recovery rate is almost 99%. The daily positivity and the weekly positivity rate till 2 days back was less than 0.5%. In barely 18 months, thanks to the Narendra Modi government and its vision, we completed successfully the world's largest vaccination drive and the world's fastest vaccination drive in 10 seconds more. We are not here to take certificates from Rahul Gandhi on how to handle a public health crisis. But since you have brought this entire political bit into what is an emergency at this point, let me tell you, World Bank President David Malpass, Chief Economist of IMF Geeta Gopinath, Head of Microsoft Bill Gates, Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres, what is common to all these people? All these people said that the excellent COVID management under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a textbook case in how a crisis should be managed successfully. So, अपना ये जो भाषण है ना, go and give it to Jairam Ramesh, who tweeted in April 2021 when we gave approval to Covaxin. Indian government
Okay,
is
so let me now hang on.
Like guinea pigs.
Okay, one second.
Rahul, 10 seconds.
No, one
Indian
second.
government is treating its citizens like guinea pigs.
Right.
Is what your Jairam Ramesh said.
Okay.
बलि का बकरा बनाया जा रहा है.
So a
This is
party,
what
so
Jairam
what
Ramesh
the
said
BJP says
when we
today,
approved Covaxin.
okay, so what the BJP is saying today is that a party, referring to the Congress, a party that stood on the soapbox and took the moral high ground and came out and very clearly called upon the Modi government to fulfill its obligations by the people in the previous waves of COVID, today is actively undermining the efforts of the government to try and stave off a situation. That's what is being said. Let me also bring in, I'll bring you in. Give me 30 seconds, Lokesh Jindal. Tushar Gupta raising his hands. Yes, Mr. Gupta, you're raising your hand. Why?
You know, Rahul, the Congress and its president like to make some very lofty statements. But let's go back 18 months. The vaccines were just announced, the entire vaccination drive was just announced. And what did the Congress tell the centre? That leave it to the states to vaccinate their citizens. Why is the centre getting to decide which vaccine is to be deployed, how it is to be deployed, which age group is to be prioritized? That was the Congress stance. And the centre said, might as well go ahead, do it. Vaccinate your citizens. It told the state governments. And just a couple of weeks later, a letter came in the public domain, which was also signed by Srimati Sonia Gandhi, as then the Congress president, which said that we want the centre to take back the vaccination drive, that we want the centre to procure and administrate the entire vaccination process. So this has been the Congress line of thinking for the last 3 years, since 2020. Every time it has been about the pandemic, they've just opposed the centre for the heck of a
I want to
them.
come in, viewers,
when the lockdowns were
and
announced,
make a fact
they
check.
asked why the lockdowns
Okay,
were
one
happening.
second. I want to introduce a fact check. We just spoke to our bureau chief in Karnataka, and we were just told by Sanju Verma that Lokesh Jindal was peddling fake news to the effect that the Jan Sankalp Yatra was on in Karnataka. Well, Imran has come out and told us that the Jan Sankalp Yatra is on hold in Karnataka. So Lokesh Jindal was actually lying on national TV.
Thank you, Rahul.
So what letter could have been written?
Wait,
To whom?
It was Dr. Guha.
One second. No, don't spin this around. Sorry.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you
I
didn't say.
that it was
Doctor,
Guha.
sorry, Doctor, what's his name? Guha said so. So Dr. Guha lying on national TV, Dr. Guha of the Congress party, doctoring facts here on Times Now.
No. See,
I'm sorry.
The
Jan Sankalp Yatra is on hold due to the assembly session.
Only because of the session.
It doesn't matter, sir. It hasn't, and it will not be resumed.
Yes,
Supposing
only
it is not
because of the
resumed.
session. Oh,
One
a
second.
day
One second.
before
You
the
made
session,
no. One
a day-
second.
I am not lying.
No. One
Please
second.
take
You are
back
completely
your
lying,
words.
sir.
I have not lied.
You
on
have lied.
national
You
TV.
said that Jan
It has
Sankalp
been
Yatra is
held
on every
only
day.
for the
The chief
purpose
minister is
of
out
the
every day.
session.
This
If
is what
not
you
for the
said.
session, it
Now,
would have been going on.
Dr. Guha, this is the
It
second
is
time
going
I have
on.
caught you out on
There
a
are
show
many
on Times
yatras
Now.
other than the Jan Sankalp. I am
Okay.
not lying.
Fair enough, sir.
Please.
I think the viewers have heard what they
Please,
have to hear.
I don't accept that.
It's okay.
Please take
It's
back
okay.
your words.
It's okay. Fair enough. Sir,
You
we are all liars
Dr.
sitting here.
Guha,
You are the
lying
challenge.
on national television.
One second.
At least the president is lying on national television.
Don't worry about it, Sanju Verma. The viewers have heard. They heard him say very clearly that every day the CM and everybody else from the BJP is on their yatra. Now that yatra has been suspended because of the legislative assembly session that is underway in Belgavi. So the Jan Sankalp Yatra is on hold for now. Imran is joining us on the phone to fact check live Dr. Guha, who spread a malicious falsehood. Now it's up to him to do so. He can. Freedom of speech and expression, viewers, dare we mute him? My God, hellfire will rain down on us. But Imran is here. Imran, so this particular Jan Sankalp Yatra is on hold for now. Why is it on hold?
Well, Rahul, there is assembly session in place now. There's winter session of assembly happening in Belgavi. Hence, the Jan Sankalp Yatra has been called off as a fraud now, right now on hold because this assembly is in session. Whereas Congress has planned for 3 yatras, that's on December 30th at Bagalkot and 2nd on Hubli, and 5th they're calling for SCST convention. So far, the Congress hasn't said that they are calling off the yatra.
Right.
In fact, they've targeted the BJP, saying that they're doing this so that there is popularity of Congress is going on the field in order to dissuade that this bogey of COVID has been raised by the BJP. As of right now, the events were scheduled for BJP on January 10th. There was a massive Jan Sankalp Yatra, but looks like the state government will not go ahead considering the COVID situation, and they have also said all major gatherings has to be cancelled considering the rise in COVID cases in the state.
There you go. Very comprehensive, viewers. Dr. Guha, fact check live on national TV. And I'm going to introduce this in this show from now on, viewers.
No.
I want to bring in Dr. Bagai now. No. I'll get the doctor in who's not going to doctor. Sir, I'm done with you. Please, 30 seconds. Let the others also come in. They're also waiting their turn. Now, you can come back and give me your explanation. I'll come back to you. Don't worry. Let the others. There are 2 other doctors. 3 actually. 3 other doctors. And they don't doctor facts. Do you, Dr. Bagai? I want to ask you, is this all a big excuse? Kya bahana hai? Or should we be worried about this Omicron subvariant? Yes, it was detected earlier in India. Yes, for some reason it hasn't expanded in the manner that, in the ferocity which we have seen in China, and those pictures are so deadly. But do we want to risk it? Doctor.
Yeah. Good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everyone. I think anyone who says that COVID is not there, masks are not required, and this is an excuse, is extremely careless, reckless, and irresponsible behavior. And as a political party, I think people should be cautious in what they say, because there are crowds which follow them. There is no doubt in my mind that these kind of events are potential super spreader events. We know that R0, that means how quickly this can spread, is approximately 10 to 18. That means it's double to triple of what Delta was, and Delta was bad enough. This is more contagious, that means it can spread quicker. Just on scientific facts, Rahul, I want people to understand that even though there is no reason to panic, because India vaccination drive has perhaps one of the most successful, fastest and the safest drives, which has protected millions of lives in India, this particular BF.7, the mutations which is about 18 unique mutations which are convergent mutations away from the receptor binding domain of the spike protein, and it's keeping the virus in an attack mode. That means it can become more invasive and more affinity binding. So I want people to be careful. Masks are extremely important. Every person in the community should take the responsibility of wearing a mask. Get your boosters, we have sufficient stock. And extremely important is we should give accurate public messaging. This kind of false bravado to push it away, this is not an excuse. This is reality. We have suffered enough. There has been pain, there has been tears, there has been blood loss, there has been loss of near and dear ones. The government of India is doing the correct thing by putting things in the correct framework at the present moment to be ready. It is better to be ready than to die.
Very well put. Dr. Sumansi Raman. Should therefore, after hearing what Dr. Bagai has said, should Rahul Gandhi be masking? Should the Yatra organizers be making sure that basic protocols like distancing are observed? Should also random sampling be happening like it is today happening now? Section of passengers coming in international airports, etc. around the country. Is that too much to ask? Do you believe Rahul Gandhi is acting extremely irresponsibly by brushing this advice off as a bahana? Simple questions to you.
I think I think it's extremely wrong on the part of Rahul Gandhi for not introducing screening at airports, for not giving guidelines to the people on the precaution dose, second precaution dose, whether it is to be taken or not, for not implementing, testing at airports and in entry points, for not, all of this is Rahul Gandhi's fault. It's his, up to 8:30 p.m. on 22nd today, 22nd of December is what I think it is. There are no guidelines which have been published by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. They said it will come after today's meeting. What are we talking about? Nobody even knows whether to give a second precaution dose. The portal does not even track second precaution dose. There is no column. It just says precaution dose. It doesn't even have a 1 and a 2. What are we talking about? And all of this is Rahul Gandhi's fault. It's the Congress party's fault for not giving the guidelines. It is the Congress party's fault for not giving the advisory to the people on time. Agreed. I think there's no point in even talking about this.
Okay.
You're not, at least I'm glad.
What a pathetic argument tonight. Tushar Gupta, what a pathetic argument tonight. Indian citizens, excuse me, stop shouting, sir, please stop shouting.
Indian citizens are seeing
stop shouting, stop shouting. Relax, calm down. Calm down, sir, you already got a bad throat, you're just straining your voice. It's a very simple question. Do we need, viewers, are we so helpless today? Are we so self-absorbed? You are seeing meetings taking place. Do you need to be handheld by your state? To be told, come on, mask up? Are we babies? We have no sense of responsibility. Forget to anybody else, but to ourselves and our families. Can't we be mature? Can't we self-regulate a little bit? Can't we say, okay, we understand, we don't want to be part of the problem, let's wear a mask, what's the big deal? But you want to be led by your Prime Minister, handheld, bachcho, pehen lo mask. Why are you tempting fate? This is what is being told to us today in defense of an asinine comment by a bunch of leaders who are today undermining, completely undermining a national endeavor. Forget if the Prime Minister has issued a guideline or not. Forget that. We know there is a problem in China. I just want you to see these pictures.
What is the ministry guidelines?
Do we need the ministry to handhold us? In fact, sir, the IMA has issued guidelines. The Indian Medical Association has issued guidelines. Haven't you seen these guidelines, sir? Issued by the IMA? Should I read them out to you?
No, sir.
The Prime Minister himself, excuse me, the Prime Minister himself, various states. Let me bring in Tushar Gupta. Yes, Tushar Gupta. Talk about it. Let's wait for the nth guideline to come, then we will react.
Irony, I heard the comments.
Yes, go ahead.
Rahul, I heard the comments from the previous speaker, and it's rather ironical that for the last 3 years, Congress and its supporters have been claiming that the government has been acting on the behest of what Rahul Gandhi is saying. And today they want Rahul Gandhi to follow the ministerial guidelines. Look, the Bharat Jodo Yatra, irrespective of its political usage, has a lot of elderlies, has a lot of women, has a lot of young children also part of it. My worry is that day after tomorrow, when it enters Delhi, a huge crowd will splurge. A huge crowd will join the rally, and that might become a problem. Look, we have already discussed the R number for this variant. The R number is the worrying factor. It's 16. That's a huge number.
Another fact check coming. 1 second, gentlemen. Another fact check coming. Excuse me.
Because the Prime Minister is saying to mask up, he doesn't want to.
Silence. Everyone, silence. Now, viewers, we are a federal state. Therefore, health comes under state governments. Now let me fact check. Dr. Suman C. Raman. The Karnataka government has issued guidelines. Masks have been made mandatory indoors. Testing must for flu-like symptoms. There are several others. Maharashtra COVID guidelines are out. There are a number of them. There are several other states who are coming out with their guidelines. So viewers, that process has begun. Yet viewers, we will wait for the center also to issue guidelines.
About the central government.
Okay, sir, it's fine. It's okay. you know, sometimes it's a state subject, sometimes it becomes a central subject. So we should keep waiting for Godot and everything else before. Sir, calm down. I'm saying, I'm only telling you that various state governments have started issuing guidelines. So follow the guidelines, because there might be a reason why these guidelines are being issued. Anyone sensible will say, okay, Kejriwal's government is taking its time to issue a guideline, but Karnataka has. Let's be careful. Let's exercise a little bit of precaution. Let's start wearing the mask. Ek do din mein guideline aa jayega. But no, viewers. What do we have here? Dr. Riju Datta will tell us the same thing. Dr. Riju Datta, what do we have here? We have an abnegation. There is no COVID. Bahana hai. Forget it. That's it, isn't it? And it's justifiable. Fair enough, sir. What more can one say? Go ahead. Dr. Datta.
Thank you, Rahul, for remembering Thank you, Rahul, for remembering Trinamool Congress after 35 minutes. Thank you very much. Give me uninterrupted courtesy of time, please. See, COVID is a national issue. It's a health risk, and it is above politics. No doubt about it. Rahul Gandhi's comments, I can't care less. I don't want to even comment on that, because I don't belong to that party. My question is this. Simple. We are off to a very good start this time round. At least we do not have Thali bajana, gana, diya jalana, all that nonsense. So we are off to a good start. My question is this. In the parliament, the Prime Minister is wearing a mask. Very good, sir. Yes, in the state of West Bengal, we have already had a meeting yesterday, and we have already formed a special committee to look after this, because we have Gangasagar Mela in West Bengal in the month of January. So we have to be extra careful in Bengal. Now the question here is, the whole country is again gone back 1 year, and they are apprehensive about the fact of what is going to happen by looking at the pictures and videos from China that is floating all around social media. My only single pointed question to the government and the government's representative here is that what are the steps that the central government has taken on people or trade being conducted with China right now, because there lies the biggest threat. Have you put a ban on international travel? Have you put an advisory on screening of the patient, people coming from China or via China? Because that is what the
Let's ask Sanju Verma
about. Nobody is concerned about Trinamool or BJP.
Okay.
People are concerned about their family.
Now listen to me, viewers. Look at Dr. Riju Datta. What a balanced point of view. And very apt questions. What did he say? That we are already on our guard. We've already had meetings. We are taking this seriously, and he used the word, we are being overcautious because we also have a big festival coming up. Now we also want the center to tell us what those steps are. They are not saying, oh, there's no COVID. Forget it. We are waiting for the center to issue guidelines. Till then, let's all, at some level or the other, look the other way. No, viewers. State subject, health, they are taking a lead to protect their citizens of Bengal. Rahul Gandhi doesn't think he belongs to the general mass of humanity. It's quite clear. But nonetheless, viewers, let me get... Sanju Verma, the criticism that Dr. Suman C. Raman expressed is, if it's so bad, where are your central guidelines? The IMA has issued guidelines. That's the Indian Medical Association. Why hasn't the Ministry of Health at the center issued guidelines? Can you respond?
Okay. Rahul, I think I agree with you partially. Riju and me are always on the opposite sides of the spectrum. But he did come up with a balanced viewpoint. Though, of course, I take offense to that Thali, etc. We don't need certificates from Trinamool Congress on how to manage a crisis. That said, I will just pointedly respond to his queries. You spoke about a couple of states, including Karnataka, Maharashtra, which have come up with COVID guidelines. Also, I'm just told that the state of Gujarat 6 hours back has said that there will be mandatory, testing done for all foreign travelers, who are entering Gujarat. And in some cases, even if it is within the state of Gujarat, say from Surat you are coming into Gujarat, because Surat last time saw, high inflection of cases, there has to be a mandatory RT-PCR test, which is not older than 72 hours, pardon me. So the limited point I'm making is that COVID is a dynamically evolving situation. When the Prime Minister was in Tripura and Meghalaya as recently as this Sunday, 18th of December, none of us were aware of this B.7 variant. There are more than 625 sub-lineages of the Omicron subvariant. The limited point is that as Dr. N.K. Arora, who's the head of NT-AGI, which monitors the government's immunization drive, on a war footing, he summed this up beautifully. He said, we need to be careful. We do not need to be fearful. We need to be vigilant. And that is what the government is doing. It is trying to ensure that there's a fine balance between not having a full-blown lockdown, not derailing the economy, which is now, fully in a recovery mode, and not having loss of life. So, Jahanvi or Jahan,
for all of those,
the policy followed by the government.
Okay, for all of those who need hand-holding, I would advise the centre. Okay, one second, doctor, please don't interrupt. I need to move on, please. You're holding me up.
Taken or not? Please.
All I'm saying. All I'm saying.
Should the second precaution dose be taken or not?
They've already told you.
You should take it.
They've already told you. The Prime Minister has already told you to take it. If you are in a delicate situation. The Prime Minister, after his meeting, it's been put out.
Situation, there is got to be
okay, now listen, I can't argue with somebody who refuses to accept certain facts. Sir,
where is it put out?
A statement has been issued by the PIB. Please check. PIB Twitter handle, please check.
Even if it is not put out, forget about anybody. Go and take the
one second. Okay, one second, doctor, please. Just Google it once. You'll see the statement. It's the fourth or fifth point that the Prime Minister has made after his meeting. Sir, I beg you.
Forget anybody's statement. Everybody should go and take the second dose.
Exactly. Now, just one second. Can everyone stop? Everyone lower their faders. I can't keep shouting over people. It's ridiculous. Now, viewers, it's very simple. For all those who require to be handheld, led like sheep, I would request the government to issue guidelines. Let there be a national masking guideline. In public, let everyone mask up. Let's do it. Because some people will not learn the lessons of 2 years. Maybe we are too indisciplined, viewers, I don't know. But for all of those who are on their own path, own trajectory, let them be encumbered by a guideline. The states can issue all their guidelines. We don't have to follow them. They're just doing it because they like to trouble all of us. So let the centre trouble us by issuing a macro guideline across. Hopefully then by tomorrow, Lokesh Jindal and company will all have masks on. And we'll probably feel a little safer. Let's hope that happens. I need to move on. While the National Herald case, viewers, still haunts the Gandhis, Robert Vadra, Gandhi's son-in-law, finds it hard to get out of his own legal tangles. In a setback of sorts, the Rajasthan High Court has refused to quash the Enforcement Directorate's Bikaner land grab probe. That is what is alleged by the Enforcement Directorate. Keeping him on tenterhooks, the court has announced that its verdict will be now given after 2 weeks. Till then, however, Mr. Robert Vadra and his mother Maureen Vadra have immunity from arrest. This order today is significant since it implies the court has, over the trial, found sufficient reason to allow the agencies to continue probing Robert Vadra in this particular land deal. BJP says that the defense of political witch hunt by the Congress against Vadra falls flat. However, here on Times Now, we want to report both sides of the story. That's why we went to Robert Vadra immediately after the court's verdict, court's order, for his statement. But this seems to have rankled him no end. Watch how he fumes and threatens to basically shoot the messenger itself. Listen in, viewers. Watch this.
There you can see Robert Vadra over here. Sir, just one response. So just one response from you, sir. Sir,
पुलिस केस करो इनके ऊपर. पुलिस केस करो इनके ऊपर.
Sir, just one response from you, sir. What will be your next course of action, sir? Well, there you can see Robert Vadra without, in fact, speaking, leaving his residence. Sir, just one response I'm asking, sir. you can see Robert Vadra clearly avoiding the media.
Now viewers, for those of you who probably have forgotten what this case is all about, the ED believes that in 2006 or 7, 275 bighas of government land in Bikaner were allegedly illegally allocated to fictitious people. This land was then bought by Mr. Vadra's company in 2010, that's the allegation, and then sold off for a whopping profit. To put it simply, the land under ED scanner was allegedly bought for 72 lakhs and then sold off for 5.5 crores. And the ED believes that the land was bought by a front company, alleged fund company, belonging to Mr. Vadra, who then, because of the sale of this land, pocketed a whopping profit of 615%. Now that's the basic charge. An ECIR, which is not an FIR, was filed by the ED to carry out a probe. Mr. Vadra says that since there is no charge sheet or an FIR against him all these years, this particular case should be quashed, and the court said nothing doing. Now viewers, let's open this up, because the BJP says that the court would have very willingly done so had there been nothing to this case. And I want to bring in Mr. Lokesh Jindal. Mr. Lokesh Jindal, today the ASG representing the Enforcement Directorate in court a few days back in the last few hearings made a sensational claim. He said that Mr. Mahesh Nagar, who's an alleged Vadra associate, carried out transactions on the instructions of Robert Vadra. Now this is a serious ED claim that still stands against Mr. Robert Vadra. In fact, Nagar has testified to the Enforcement Directorate that he acted on behalf of Mr. Vadra, and this is one of the reasons why the court, the judge by extension, has not quashed this matter. So Mr. Jindal, how can the Congress party, who has in the past described this case as a witch hunt, continue to argue this point?
Rahul, the conviction rate of ED is 0.5%, as we all know. So the statistics speak in themselves. We all know that how the ED functions and what is the objective of ED for having such a low conviction rate. And secondly, when you are talking about land deals, let me tell you what is happening in Nagpur. In Nagpur, the Gunthewari Act is being exploited so as to sell off the government land to those belonging to the BJP government at cheap rates. But the ED will not look into it. The point is, recently, Mr. Shinde, the CM of Maharashtra, he cleared land under the Gunthewari Act to 16 people despite opposition by the NIT. But this matter was not taken up. So there has been a selective pinpointing taking place. I mean, ED is misusing its power. The PMLA Act, which was aimed at preventing money laundering, is being used to prevent opposition.
Okay, so you're saying
this form of tendency,
the ED is unreliable and it is selective. I just want to also point out, viewers, another fact, that the CBI, that has a much higher conviction rate, I think of 65% plus. I'll check that figure. Bear with me. But I believe that it's in a high number. That is also investigating an aspect of this case. The court has noted that there is a CBI request for a probe against Skylight, which is a company owned by Mr. Robert Vadra, under section 173 of the CRPC. This request is part of a supplementary charge sheet filed in 2017 in the Bikaner land deal matter. In other words, the CBI case will also continue, and therefore there is no clean sheet yet either on that account. So there is also the CBI that is looking into this, Lokesh ji. What will you say to this now?
See, both ED and CBI, they function in different capacities. There are different legal provisions which they work within the framework of. So right now, whatever information is available, it is as per the PMLA.
You see the waffling. The CBI, I am just being corrected and told that in fact it's higher than 65%. It's almost 70%, the conviction rate, CBI. So that remains a probe. Now, for a moment, let's assume that this particular charge has returned to haunt Mr. Robert Vadra. I am very interested in only one question, Sanju Verma ji, and you need to answer this. It has been almost a decade and no charge sheet in this matter? Why?
Okay.
How slow is
Rahul.
the ED?
Rahul, you asked a pointed question and you will get a pointed rebuttal without ifs or buts whatsoever, and the truth. The initial investigation into this Bikaner land grab case by Robert Vadra and Maureen Vadra through their company Skylight Hospitality, the initial probe started in 2015, and in 2016 it landed into the ED's lap, and the ED started a probe. In 2015, actually, the Modi government, after it came to power, 18 plots of land were cancelled. And initially, mind you, Robert and Maureen Vadra were not even mentioned in the ECIR that was filed in 2016. Then initial arrests were made in 2017, and arrests were made of 3 people who served as conduits for Robert Vadra. One was Ashok Kumar, one was Mahesh Nagar, who was a middleman, and one was JP Nagar. After these 3 people started singing, after they started giving out information, it is then that in 2018, the Enforcement Directorate asked Robert and Maureen Vadra to submit themselves to a custodial interrogation, post which Robert Vadra actually applied to the court saying that the legal system is being misused and he and his mother should not be custodially interrogated. The matter went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court upheld the right of the Enforcement Directorate to investigate and probe the Vadras in this money laundering case. In 2019, Robert Vadra was interrogated for a brief while, and now in 2022, Robert and Maureen Vadra have been given a 2-week reprieve by the Rajasthan High Court.
Okay.
They can go to the higher bench and seek relief from not personally being custodially interrogated, but they are, Rahul, they are citizens like you and me.
Right.
If the Enforcement Directorate wanted, let me tell you, Enforcement Directorate, as per the last Supreme Court judgment, though this matter is still sub judice, has the power to suo moto arrest Robert and Maureen Vadra, which they have not done.
Okay, viewers,
so please don't play the victim card.
Viewers, 2019, 2020, 21, 22 almost ending. 4 years, even by Sanju Verma's own admission, 4 years have passed. 4 years, it appears right now, and there is, I'm no fan of Robert Vadra, viewers. But let me tell you, in this case, it appears that the process is worse than the punishment. Because it is giving people elbow room to say that he is corrupt, that he's done this, that, the other. But in 4 years, not even an FIR? That is absurd, isn't it? And that needs to change. Hopefully, it will. Otherwise, viewers, Robert Vadra is going to laugh in the face of the BJP and its government. Let me tell you this. You may not like to hear this, but that's a fact. 4 years. Think about it. The news are coming up.
The smartphone category in India is anyway popular, right? उसमें भी जो 20 से 25 हजार वाले स्मार्टफोन्स हैं वो और भी ज्यादा पॉपुलर हैं। शायद इसीलिए इन्फिनिक्स ने आज अपना 020 स्मार्टफोन लॉन्च कर दिया है। I have the smartphone with me right here और इसको आज करेंगे अनबॉक्स। Hi, you're watching Gadget Time. This is me, Padmaja, and it's time for me to unbox this device और देखते हैं फोन में आपको क्या-क्या contents दिखाई देंगे। Let's begin. आपने देखा यहाँ पर स्टिकर उतारते हुए मैंने ऐसे थोड़ा सा गंद मचा दी, यहाँ पे स्टिकर ऑलरेडी दिखाई दे रहा है, बट इसको क्लीन करेंगे बाद में। अभी बात करेंगे स्मार्टफोन के बारे में। थोड़ा सा मुझे विड्थ इसका ज्यादा लग रहा है, वो यूज करने के बाद पता चलेगा कि ये कितना कंफर्टेबल है। अदर देन दैट यू गेट 3 कैमराज एट द बैक। इसको आपको मिलेगा स्क्वायरिश कैमरा मॉड्यूल के अंदर। द मेन कैमरा इज 108 मेगापिक्सल और यही इसका यूएसपी है। सिर्फ बैक कैमरास की बात नहीं है बॉस, आपको फ्रंट कैमरा भी बहुत ही धांसू दिखाई दे रहा है, एटलीस्ट ऑन द स्पेक शीट। यूज करने पे पता चलेगा कि कितना अच्छा है या नहीं अच्छा है। फ्रंट कैमरा जो इसका है वो आपको मिलता है 60 मेगापिक्सल का फ्रंट शूटर। आपको इसमें दिखाई देगा फुल HD प्लस एमोलेड पैनल। बेजल्स थोड़े से मुझे मोटे दिखाई दे रहे हैं, टॉप और बॉटम वाला स्पेशली। साइड बेजल्स आर स्टिल स्लिम। व्हाट कीप्स दिस स्मार्टफोन अलाइव इज Helio G99 चिपसेट। बैटरी की बात करें तो इसमें आपको मिलता है 45 वोल्ट का फास्ट चार्जिंग सिस्टम, विच इज प्रिटी गुड। एट द बॉटम यू ऑल्सो गेट अ 3.5 mm हेडफोन जैक एंड दैट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि आजकल के फोन में ये आपको बिल्कुल दिखाई नहीं देता है। सो यू डू नॉट हैव टू जस्ट रिलाई ऑन योर वायरलेस ईयरबड्स। आप यहाँ पर अपने वायर्ड हेडफोन्स का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। स्पीकर के साथ आपको मिलता है Type-C पोर्ट, ऊपर की तरफ माइक्रोफोन है, राइट साइड पे आपको मिलता है वॉल्यूम रॉकर और साथ में पावर बटन। लेफ्ट साइड इज प्रीटी क्लीन, लेकिन यहाँ पे आपको मिलता है सिम ट्रे और सिम इंजेक्टर टूल बॉक्स में आपको मिलता है, वो मैं दिखा चुकी हूँ। यहीं पर सिम ट्रे की बात करते करते मेरी नजर गई है फ्रेम पर, विच इज प्रीटी ग्लॉसी। मेटल तो नहीं है लेकिन ऐसा फील जरूर दे रहा है दैट इट्स मेटल। बाकी ये था मेरा ओवरऑल लुक एट द स्मार्टफोन। अगर आप जानना चाहते हैं कि क्या आपको ये खरीदना चाहिए एट अराउंड ₹20,000-25,000, क्या ये अच्छा ऑप्शन है या नहीं, उसके लिए यू रियली नीड टू स्टे ट्यून्ड टू गैजेट टाइम्स टू फाइंड आउट इट्स फुल रिव्यू। नाउ यू गाइज नो द ड्रिल, लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब एंड जस्ट स्टे ट्यून्ड टू गैजेट टाइम्स। थैंक्स फॉर वाचिंग दिस
On the show tonight, viewers.
Shraddha Walkar murder accused Aftab Poonawala today withdrew his bail application before a Delhi court. His lawyer told the court that the previous plea was moved because of a miscommunication. The Maharashtra government has announced a probe by an SIT into the death of talent manager Disha Salyan. Over 25 lakh Panchamshali Lingayats took out a massive rally in Belagavi, Karnataka today. The community is seeking a larger share of reservation quota for the OBCs. They later called off the protest after assurances from the Chief Minister. Actor Jacqueline Fernandez appeared before Patiala House Court in Delhi today in relation to a money laundering case. She decided to withdraw the plea to travel abroad, which she had earlier filed. Former Delhi Prisons Chief Sandeep Goyal has been suspended by Home Ministry on extortion claims by conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Bombay High Court has given relief to Chief Minister of Maharashtra Eknath Shinde in NIT plots case. On December 16, the Urban Development Department had cancelled order to transfer land to a private person and made the land available for slum dwellers. While inaugurating a mega Christmas event in Kolkata, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that her state is one where people are not divided based on their religious identity. Delhi police have refuted any claims of trespassing or vandalism on the premises of Bawa Colony in Burari amidst conversion claims. The complaint was received by police on December 11. Delhi police have questioned Flipkart officials in relation to Dwarka acid attack case. The accused in this case had procured acid used for attacking a young girl online.
Let's get it started here, you know it's game time. Ain't no excuses tolerated why you can't grind. It's like you're on the job, you know that team.
Hello everyone, ये है बजाज की नई पल्सर P150 in case you're wondering 150 ऑलरेडी मौजूद है तो इस P वर्जन को लाने का कारण क्या है, मतलब क्या है। सो कारण बहुत सारे हैं, डिजाइन को लेकर, फीचर्स को लेकर और कुछ हद तक परफॉर्मेंस को लेकर भी इस P वर्जन में बदलाव देखने को मिलते हैं। तो क्या है वो सारे बदलाव इस नई पल्सर P150 में, उन सभी के बारे में मैं आपसे बात करने वाला हूं इस रिव्यू के अंदर। और रिव्यू के एंड में बात करेंगे 3 धांसू और 3 नॉट धांसू एलिमेंट्स मुझे क्या लगते हैं इस बजाज पल्सर P150 के बारे में। अब डिजाइन की बात करें तो यहाँ पर जो नयापन देखने को मिल रहा है, स्पेशली ओवरऑल 150 जो पल्सर है उसके मुकाबले इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइन पूरी आपको ये P150 देखने को मिलेगी, लेकिन आपको ओवरऑल जो एसेंस है डिजाइन का वो इसमें N160 वाला देखने को मिलने वाला है। फ्रंट हालांकि अलग है यहाँ पे, लेकिन अब इसमें P150 में प्रोजेक्टर हेडलैम्प्स दिए गए हैं एंड इसमें DRLs भी यहाँ पर इसमें देखने को मिलते हैं। अग्रेसिव, स्पोर्टी एंड शार्प एलिमेंट्स इसके डिजाइन में यहाँ पर देखने को मिल रहे हैं एंड साइड प्रोफाइल जो ओवरऑल है वो आपको N160 वाला ही झलक थ्रू आउट इसके साइड प्रोफाइल में देखने को मिलने वाला है। टैंक से लेकर इसके रियर पैनल्स यहाँ तक जो जाते हैं तो ओवरऑल वो लुक कुछ वैसा ही है, लेकिन अग्रेसिव और शार्प काफी ये इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइन पहले के मुकाबले लग रही है। देन पल्सर की बड़ी सी ब्रांडिंग यहाँ दी गई है एंड यहाँ काउल अलग से देखने को मिल रहा है टैंक पे एंड देयर इज बेली पैन जो यहाँ पे नीचे।
Welcome to Newshour. I'm Madhav Gopalakrishnan. Now the new COVID threat due to the virus resurgence in China is real. Swinging into action, the centre has given a slew of measures to be implemented by the states, but the focus is back on the frontline defence, that is face masks. Leading from the front, the Prime Minister attended Parliament today, covering his face with a mask. Top ministers, members of Parliament also taking a cue from the PM, masking up inside the Parliament. It wasn't just the Treasury benches alone, but many opposition MPs were also seen taking precautions. The Lok Sabha Speaker, Rajya Sabha Chairman, both were wearing masks and advised parliamentarians to cover their face and spread awareness about COVID-appropriate behaviour. Centre has said that despite appeals, some opposition MPs were deliberately flouting the norms. Listen in.
सुबह से आप सब देख रहे हो, माननीय स्पीकर साहब और माननीय चेयरमैन साहब एक निवेदन किया था कि कोविड की स्थिति जो कोविड बढ़ रहे हैं सारे दुनिया में, वो देखते हुए सब अपील किया। हमको एक एग्जाम्पल सेट करने के लिए, उदाहरण सेट करने के लिए दोनों ने सुबह ही अपील किया, कृपया सब मेंबर्स, सब स्टाफ इधर मास्क पहन के पार्टिसिपेट करिए प्रोसीडिंग्स में। वो भी वायलेट किया। जब सब मिलकर वेल में आ रहे थे तब भी एक भी व्यक्ति मास्क पहना नहीं था। कोविड-19 के पिछले अनुभवों को देखते हुए हमें निरंतर सतर्कता और सावधानी रखने की आवश्यकता है। मेरा आप सभी माननीय सदस्यों आग्रह है, हम सभी उन सुरक्षा उपायों का पालन करें, मास्क का प्रयोग करें।
I urge all the honorable members to be extra cautious about the surging COVID cases in the world and take all precautionary steps, including wearing masks, use of sanitizers, and social distancing.
But Rahul Gandhi has made it clear that he won't budge. A day after the Health Minister urged the Gandhi Sayan to follow COVID protocol or postpone Bharat Jodo, today the Wayanad MP called it nothing but the centre's bahana or excuse to block Congress's flagship Yatra. Listen in.
अब यात्रा को रोकने के लिए बहाने बन रहे हैं, बहाने बन रहे हैं। मास्क पहनो, यात्रा बंद करो, कोविड फैल रहा है, सब बहाने हैं।
The question that then arises is, has Rahul Gandhi forgotten how the second wave destroyed millions of families, not only in India but across the globe? Why following COVID protocol is now being seen as an ego clash or a political issue? Rahul's always been at the forefront to give advice to the centre regarding COVID and its implications. Now does not appear to be bothered about people who are walking beside him in the Yatra. And what he cannot ignore is a fact that the Himachal CM has tested positive just after attending the Bharat Jodo Yatra. After Rahul's Bahana attack on the centre, the Congress now believes that Modi Sarkar is trying to derail the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Listen in.
We are very much abiding the rules of this country every time. Whenever the COVID started, we are the party totally abide by the corona guideline. But here, clearly a double standard of BJP, you can see that. Every day Prime Minister is doing rally. 2 days before only he done a rally in Tripura. Whether the Health Minister wrote a letter to the Prime Minister. He is asking Bharat Jodo Yatra to be stopped. That shall be the clear indication of the success of Bharat Jodo Yatra. This is a certificate for Bharat Jodo Yatra success. Therefore, we are very much aware of this fact.
This brings me to the legitimate question that we're asking this evening. Is the politics over protocol only for Rahul Gandhi?
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Taking this across to our guests, joining us, we have with us Syed Zafar Islam, who's spokesperson of the BJP. We also have with us Karan Verma, who's an author. Rajiv Dasgupta is a member of the National AEFI Committee. Sanjay Jha is with us on the broadcast. Also with us is Professor Manojit Mandal, national spokesperson of the TMC. But I first and foremost want to go across to Tehseen Poonawala, who's a political analyst. Tehseen, simple question is this: that if there are protocols that can be put in place, if there is masking, if there's social distancing that can be put in place, why is Rahul Gandhi calling this a stop to the Bharat Jodo Yatra? Has anyone specifically said the Yatra must stop? What is the harm in carrying out protocols? Wouldn't that just make everybody that much safer?
Namaskar, Madhav. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. There's just 3 very brief points I want to make. First, I want to just say one thing about my personal experience, because I am going to be joining the Bharat Jodo Yatra in January, and since I am in touch, I have been told, and we're getting and along with me, some of my friends from Mumbai who are celebrities who are coming, we've been told to bring our COVID certificates, our COVID vaccine certificates, and there'll be a COVID test done not more than 24 hours prior to joining the Yatra. So that has already been put in place, because this is about a month ago since cases were rising, number 1. Number 2, I'd just like to show you some pictures. Take this opportunity. This is today. Niti Aayog briefing to media members. In fact, Times Now was there. On COVID protocols, this is them. This is yesterday in the afternoon, the most honorable Prime Minister of India, with the Vice President of India. This is yesterday Prime Minister.
From Parliament today, I was in Parliament, I was wearing a mask. Most members of Parliament were wearing masks. If these are protocols that are being introduced...
Please, I request you, just give me 30 seconds. Please,
what is the harm in following those protocols?
I agree with you. I'm told that I've been asked to do it.
Do 2 wrongs make a right, sir? Can 2 wrongs make a right?
I can't do a debate this way. We are not here to defend the Prime Minister. Let me show you viewers, then you ask me questions. Last night, Honorable Prime Minister, last night. Shadi, Beed, last night, Honorable Prime Minister, last night, not 2 nights ago, last night, most honorable Prime Minister. I am saying whether it's Rahul ji or it's Prime Minister, sir, everyone must follow protocol. Why is the letter only written to Rahul Gandhi? This follows a series of fake news on Rahul Gandhi ji. Bhavar was style Rahul Gandhi's lace. There is the girl from Pakistan who's in the Yatra. That the BJP is being spreading from its official handle.
Okay, I think there's a difference when a Government of India minister speaks, and he speaks on the floor of the House about the magnitude of the COVID crisis. He's informed Parliament. I don't think it can be taken so lightly, and I certainly want to link all of that with fake news. You're entitled to your opinion, Tehseen, but I think that would be misleading or being a little unjust to our viewers. But since you've asked questions of the Prime Minister and you've asked questions of the government, I want Zafar Islam to come in. Zafar Islam, the question coming in from the Congress party time and again is that this is some kind of political targeting. Is this political targeting because they are citing examples where they say that BJP leaders are not following the same protocol that the government is prescribing for the Congress party? You made your point now, let him respond.
Last night, most honorable Prime Minister.
You made your point, sir. Let him respond now. Syed Zafar Islam.
The suggestion is for their good, to protect them from the new variant which has come up, and it is for their safety and security. And what is wrong in it? It is the responsibility of the government. 2 days ago, we never discussed about it because we didn't have this kind of situation in China, or for that matter in Japan or Brazil or South Korea or many other parts of the world. But when you get to know about such situation emerging in other part of the world, especially your neighboring country, then what is the responsibility of the government? To immediately sensitize the people, the citizen, and also sensitize and suggest the irresponsible politician as well. Today, the responsibility of a member of parliament is to be in the parliament, but he is away from the parliament and leading a Bharat Jodo Yatra, which is of no use. And so many people coming from different states actually walking with him are being exposed to corona risk. So government has only asked Rahul Gandhi by sending a letter to, because he is a very immature politician, everything he will take negatively. So he has been only asked to please follow the protocol, corona protocol, COVID guidelines, nothing else. And if you can't, then of course, why don't you consider of suspending your yatra for some time, because you are anyway taking a break from your Jodo Yatra to...
Okay, let me come in here. Tehseen Purawala, this is a little strange. This is a little strange because if my memory serves me right, in 2020, it was Rahul Gandhi, the same Rahul Gandhi, was accusing the government of being behind the curve, of not taking an example of what's happening in China. The same situation was emerging then, and at that time, Mr. Gandhi was accusing the government of not being up to speed with what's happening on ground in China and neighboring China. Now, why is it so that Mr. Gandhi himself is caught on the wrong foot? Why is he the one who is here seen not adhering to the protocols or the actions? If the government is acting fast, if the government is not acting, then you will criticize them. If the government acts, then also they are criticized. Now, there can't be different yardsticks at different points of time, can there?
No, they can't be. And with lot of respect, I'll just take 45 seconds and plead with you. Don't interrupt me. I won't speak after this. You're right, Madhav. 8th February 2020, Rahul Gandhi was the first politician in this country who spoke about COVID, and the then health minister mocked him and made fun of him. Times Now has covered it. But let's come to today, because we're talking about 2022. Let's forget the mistakes that the most honorable Prime Minister made. We know that China, the COVID has surged since the past 1 month. I've said this repeatedly on Times Now, tweeted about it. Day before yesterday, a letter was written to Rahul Gandhi. They have all rights to write, and protocols must be followed. It is being followed. I've been asked along with my friends in Bharat, Jodo, to follow it. But here is the most honorable Prime Minister not following it. At a wedding, in a public wedding, I am just saying the law is equal for everybody, whether it's Karan, Sayedji, Tehseen, me, or it's for the Prime Minister, Vice President Rahul Gandhi. What holds true for Rahul Gandhi must also hold true for the Prime Minister. Why is the letter not written to the Prime Minister when
but Tehseen, I hold no brief for anyone. The only point is that then you would be not completely ignoring what happened in Parliament today, where ministers, where members of Parliament, including opposition members, and there were several opposition members at that. Let me be very fair to them. There were several of them who were themselves very responsibly masking up and came there with masks, saying that we don't want to either spread the disease or we don't want to get infected ourselves. So what is the harm if in an event like that, when several MPs have come out to say that there actually is such a view expressed by by not just the government, and which is warning people in their own interest to mask up. And let me bring in the doctor's role in this. Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta is with us. Let's listen to the doctor. Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, when you hear this whataboutery, our politicians, an ex-politician did this, Y politician did that, end of the day, these are people whose citizens are supposed to emulate. These are people who are supposed to be setting an example. But yet what we get as citizens is whataboutery rather than the example being set. Look at the wrongs being done by others. Don't look at the positive messaging that is happening. Somewhere there is some kind of a dichotomy over there in terms of the role and what they should be doing and what's actually happening on ground. Dr. Dasgupta.
Well, on a lighter note, I don't intend contradicting the spokespersons of the leading national political parties. But on a more serious note, I hope that, and this we have said earlier also, that in matters such as COVID, parties cutting across party lines, the Parliament ought to be bipartisan about it. And we shouldn't be framing it in terms of Treasury bench MPs and opposition MPs. I think the time has now come, after 3 years of experience, that we treat parliamentarians or Parliament as a bipartisan, takes a bipartisan approach as far as the pandemic is concerned. But yes, the fact remains that this is a strain, whether it's BF7 or the other Omicron subvariants in circulation now, that's driving the surge certainly in some countries of the world, are far more transmissible than the original Omicron strain also. And therefore, as far as using the mask is concerned, using the basic COVID precautions are concerned, there are no two words about it.
Absolutely, and in fact, let me bring in Sanjay Jha on that note. Sanjay Jha, I think that the doctor has it absolutely right when he says that this is a protocol that all should follow, irrespective of ideology, region, religion, gender, what have you. This is something that affects all of us. So why then should we look at something or a protocol being put in place or letters being written with a political lens only? At the end of the day, the allegation of the BJP is that do the Gandhis think that they are above any such protocol?
Madhav, the very fact that we are having a debate on a deadly pandemic that has killed officially over 500,000 people in our country, allegedly it could be 4 million if you go by other sources, it just is a manifestation of the quality of our political discourse. Now, let me make 2 points here. the government is doing the right thing by setting out a protocol early. One should be apprehensive. You don't have any place for complacency. There cannot be any dispute or debate on that. There is a second point, and I think that's a point that I think the Congress has been at pains to make today. And I would not like Syed, who's a good friend of mine, to dismiss this with the kind of nonchalance with which he did. The reason why the Congress is saying what it is saying, listen, we are in the middle of a very big initiative called the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which I think by all standards has been a spectacular success. The second point is, if they are promising to follow the protocol, then I think the BJP should stop trying to also make it so melodramatic as to say that the Congress party does not care and it is doing its own number, completely oblivious of its other national responsibility.
May I come in on that?
Zafar, and I think this is very important for us to know. There are just 2 points and I'm done. When COVID had already hit India, India's own Prime Minister was doing a Namaste Trump with 100,000 people in the biggest cricket stadium in the world without anybody wearing a mask. And both America and India have paid the hugest price on account of the COVID pandemic. No. Did we see the campaign during the elections?
Sanjay Jha.
Mr. Modi was not wearing a mask a single day.
Sanjay Jha, the problem is this. The problem is whataboutery. The problem is whataboutery because today Rahul Gandhi is saying that we are being stopped. That hame yatra karne nahi de rahe. Wo dar gaye. Now the point is that is imposing a COVID protocol in any way stalling somebody from doing the yatra? Isn't that something that is completely wrong to state?
I concede the point that the Congress party here is in an opposition today, but it has literally governed the country for 55 of the 75 odd years. The Congress party has a Herculean responsibility, a Herculean Himalayan responsibility to make sure that India is not susceptible to the new variant of COVID, because you can't take any risk with the COVID at all. So I agree with that point. But I also want to point out to the BJP, it's equally critical because these are 2 national parties, Madhav, that are on everyday debate at 9 o'clock whether they're connected or not. And I think the BJP must realize as a government at the center, you cannot be afford to be seen, even to be selectively telling somebody to stop a yatra, while otherwise your own people are all over town doing exactly what they want.
Okay, let me just come in here and bring Karan Verma for that matter. Karan Verma, the allegation that is coming in from the Congress party is that why is the police interfering? There's allegation coming in. You must have heard Jairam Ramesh earlier today and other spokespersons of the Congress party who insist that police are interfering in the yatra. It's gone beyond just protocols with the police now getting involved. Is that right? If it's just a protocol that you're suggesting or the government is suggesting, can it be enforced in this manner?
No, it cannot be enforced. If that's happening, that's definitely not within the correct parameters. But Madhav, let me just bring this in perspective. And my good friend Tehseen is on the panel. And it's only poetic justice today that exactly 1.5 years back, Madhav, I think it was on your show when we were debating the Kawad Yatra. And my friend Tehseen made some very strong points and said that even though it's going to be a symbolic yatra, in lesser numbers, properly masked and everything, he said the UP government should not allow this yatra because we've just recovered from the COVID wave. And I applauded him for being so responsible. Even though it ruffled some feathers and many were of the opinion that there are sentiments that should be taken into account. But today, when Rahul Gandhi is undertaking a yatra, he says that yatra should continue. So this kind of duplicity doesn't work and it doesn't do justice to his intellectual honesty. That's number one to begin with. Secondly, let's understand this. Congress hasn't played the role of a responsible opposition. We still can't get over the fact that people like Mr. Shashi Tharoor, Manish Tiwari, T.S. Singh Deo, they continuously cast aspersions on the efficacy of our homegrown vaccines. They continued this entire hysteria which did exacerbate vaccine hesitancy, and that was confirmed by reports of local circles. Their political campaigns don't work that well, but this vaccine hesitancy campaign did work. So I think the Congress should also learn from its mistakes, and this time around, if there is a guideline coming from the central ministry that you should take proper protocols, I don't think they should make it melodramatic. Mr. Jha said the BJP is making it melodramatic. In fact, it's the Congress. When Rahul Gandhi says, "Hame rok nahi paoge, rok nahi sakte," I think he is making it melodramatic. Let's for a minute divorce politics from this issue.
Absolutely.
These are issues of national importance, whether it's security from a China standpoint or health, because it affects us. Everybody was affected last time around.
Absolutely.
So let's approach it in a bipartisan manner. Two wrongs don't make one right. If the government is extending a branch, the opposition should grab it and should be equally responsible.
Absolutely. And in fact, Professor Mandal, before I come to you, I'm going to ask Tehseen two questions. Tehseen, there are two pointed questions to you. One, opposition contributing to the vaccine hesitancy in terms of the number of statements, and you yourself having double standards. You're being a hypocrite, says Karan Verma. Please respond to both those points.
I'll come on the vaccine later because if others want to speak, but if you give me the time, I'll speak on the vaccine. There's something else. Karan is absolutely right on the Yatra. He's absolutely right. I was on fact, Madhav, I don't remember, maybe on a year and a half ago when we didn't have vaccines, when the country was still in the middle of a COVID wave.
We were both panelists on your show.
Yes, we both were. Karan and I were both on that show, and we didn't even have vaccines because the Honorable Prime Minister said in Davos, India defeated COVID without vaccines, therefore leading to 500,000 deaths. But let's come to the point. Today we have vaccines and there are no protocols. All I'm saying, Karan, is if there is a protocol, it should apply to everybody, including Rahul Gandhi. If there are no protocols, then don't target Rahul Gandhi. A. B. I have been told I am going on Bharat Jodo in January. I am going with some people from Mumbai.
Why is he
I have been told to get my
dramatizing it?
vaccine certificate,
Tehseen,
booster
why is he
certificate, and the
dramatizing
COVID.
it?
Sorry? And I've been told to get my vaccine, booster, and the
Why
COVID
is
test will
Rahul
be done
Gandhi
there.
dramatizing it?
No, it's the government's doing it. When you are lying, see, why
He should accept it.
Today
These are guidelines given for his welfare.
So none of us will be heard. Just 30 seconds.
यात्रा रोक रहे हैं, मास्क पहनने को बोल रहे हैं, sir. That's not drama. Is that not drama? Is asking someone to wear the mask stopping the yatra? Is that an equivalence that's fair to draw, Tehseen?
Could you repeat it because there's an overlap?
Rahul Gandhi says that हमें मास्क पहनने को बोल रहे हैं, यात्रा रोक रहे हैं. What is the equivalence there?
I'll tell you why.
We all carry about our regular jobs wearing masks. Why is it so difficult to do? Many people attend office wearing masks.
I'll tell you why. One, let me repeat the point again. We've been told in January when we joined that these are the protocols. The protocols have been put in place. They are threatening to stop the Yatra, but they've not told either the BJP Rajasthan Yatra, they haven't told the Prime Minister's rallies, the Prime Minister's wedding invitations to stop the crowd out there.
Okay.
That shows biasness. You tell everybody. Tell the Prime Minister, tell Rahul Gandhi, I'm with you.
Alright, there was news coming in that BJP is also planning to hold its Yatra in Rajasthan, but let's get in a quick word of that. Allegation aside Zafar Islam coming in from Tehseen that the BJP is continuing its Yatras but stopping the Congress's Yatras. What's the record on that? Are the Jan Akrosh Yatras going to stop on part of the BJP as well?
No, I think Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla doesn't know that there was a meeting Prime Minister had this afternoon with all the chief ministers. Advisory has been issued by the Minister of Health. The Health Minister has spoken on the floor of the Parliament, sensitizing every member of Parliament and the country as a whole that this is a serious issue and we must be sensitized about it, how to take care of the COVID protocol, etc., etc. But I do not understand one thing, that Rahul Gandhi, who should have been in the Parliament, being a member of Parliament, but he is away from the Parliament, he is taking break for the vacation he wants to have, but he doesn't want to attend the Parliament, he doesn't want to take a break for the Parliament. He could have discussed this, he could have raised this issue, we could have discussed in the Parliament itself. But since he is away, and letter has been issued because so many people from different part of the country is joining him, and it is for their good, the letter has been issued, and all he had to say, yes, we will follow the COVID protocol. Okay. Did we ask them to suspend? Did we ask him to postpone? Did we ask him to cancel his yatra? No. Of course, if you can't comply with the guideline, then you must consider. The discretion is at your end, at Rahul Gandhi's end, not that we are dictating him or suggesting him to cancel it. Okay. We are just suggesting him.
Tehseen Poonawalla, you made your point, sir. You made your point. We've understood your point. Let others also have their say. Let others also have their say. Yeah.
But he is irresponsible.
Yes. Yes.
He is a very irresponsible politician. That's why he has been told.
All right, let me bring in the TMC on that now. Professor Mandal, thank you so much for your patience, sir. Your views on this debate, where do you stand? Because at the end of the day, you know, this is not something, as I was mentioning earlier, that affects any one party. It's for the citizens of the country. And it's a fact that, in fact, the Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh has contracted COVID after attending the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Should that not be an eye-opener?
No, we would like to know how much serious the situation is from the expert. What is ICMR saying? What are the guidelines issued by the MHRD? It's good thing that the government has woken up early and they are talking to the Chief Minister, not making the kind of blunders they had made about 3 years ago, without talking to the Chief Minister, without taking the states on board, declaring, that lockdown and inconveniencing millions of people, almost, making some people die on the streets because of all those horrific, scenes that we have seen when the migrant laborers were walking back. I think the government has woken up, that's good. Now I believe the Prime Minister, Home Minister, all the BJP leaders will gradually stop their political rallies. Not just they will talk about the opposition parties stopping their political rallies, but they will also advise their own political leaders, like what we have in Bengal, Shubhendu Adhikari only 3-4 days back, holding a rally where 3 persons were killed because of, what was doing blanket distribution and something else. And now he is absconding from to the police. I think they will also advise their own leaders, including himself.
Question for Syed Zafar Islam again. Okay, Syed Zafar Islam, question again coming in.
Rallies, give me 10 seconds at least.
You asked a question, that's why I was getting a response from the BJP. Yes. You can respond to him. You can respond to him. Let him respond to your question.
It cannot be the new political normal, cannot be only applicable to the opposition leaders.
Absolutely, and that's why they need to answer as well. Syed Zafar Islam respond, because the TMC is alleging that the BJP is not carrying out the same messages or acting in the same vein as the message going out to the opposition. There appears to be double standards, is what the TMC is also saying along with the Congress party, because they allege that your leader in West Bengal is carrying out rallies. There are allegations that rallies have been carried out in recent days as well without COVID protocols in Tripura and other locations. How do you respond to these charges? Syed Zafar Islam.
See, message is for the nation. It's not only for Rahul Gandhi or for that matter for any particular leader. But since Rahul Gandhi is leading a yatra which is continuing for days together, it is not a one-day event, and it is likely to continue for another 25 days. It is important for him to understand the ground reality. It is for the government to sensitize him, apprise him of the situation, the global situation, what is happening in China, what is happening in Brazil, and somehow he is not paying attention. Then it is important for the government to at least sensitize him. Did we ask Rahul Gandhi to discontinue? No, we didn't ask to discontinue. We all asked him to follow the protocol, because this is not a one-day event. Other event may have happened, but everybody has been sensitized. The nation today is discussing and debating, and there is an element of sensitiveness around it. So people will comply with that. The random testing has also begun at the airport. Many other initiatives have been taken by the government, and the government is monitoring the situation. They will continue to monitor the situation and take appropriate action as and when it is desired. But he has been only informed because this is not a one-day event for him, and he is continuing his event, so that it is important for him to know that it is something where he has to follow the COVID protocol. Is it a big ask? Is it a big ask when you are leading with 500, 600 people a yatra? Then is it a big ask?
And absolutely, I agree with that point, because it's a crowded stage scenes have been seen. You can see the images. In fact, bigger crowds have been seen. Sanjay Jha at several of those locations. Just coming to Professor Mandal, 1 minute, because that question was for the Congress. Sanjay Jha, bigger crowds have been seen. This is just a small sample. At a time like this, certainly, why can that message not percolate down? And do we really need to politicize everything?
Madhav, I can tell you the real reason why you're finding this topic get very controversial today. Their messenger, unfortunately, has zero credibility. And I think I speak not just for the Congress here, I think speak for many people in this country. one of the biggest super spreader events that led to COVID spreading to every part of this country, interspersed across states, was the Kumbh Mela that had the full endorsement of the BJP at the state and at the central level. Obviously, Mr. Modi kept very silent. And I do believe that this is the reason why today the BJP has absolutely no currency to make this at all. It has no moral guardianship of the subject. And I think we need to raise the bar of a conversation. If Boris Johnson, the Conservative Prime Minister, who led the Conservatives, the biggest majority in Britain after Margaret Thatcher, lost his job principally because he did not wear a mask. This was the protocol that the government has set. Let's have some similar standards here. Mr. Modi is not an exception. I think Tehseen is absolutely right. Neither is Rahul Gandhi, neither is somebody else. But let's apply the same yardstick to everyone.
All right. Just want to come in very quickly because the reaction coming in from the Minister of State and the Ministry of Home Affairs, Nishit Pramanik, has advised Rahul and company to plan an event keeping norms in mind. This is advice to Rahul and the Congress party. Listening to Nishit Pramanik.
देखिए, एक तरफ तो विरोधी जो है पार्लियामेंट को चलने नहीं दे रहा है. आज भी देखा किस तरह से पार्लियामेंट का जो इम्पोर्टेंट कार्यक्रम है उसको ऊपर कैसे बाधा डालने का प्रयास किया. और दूसरी तरफ जहां पर पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज है, पॉलिटिकल कार्यक्रम है, और मुझे लगता है इस कोविड के समय पर जिस तरह से हम लोगों ने देखा कि देश में कैसे विपरीत परिस्थिति आए, मुझे लगता है इस समय भी सचेतन होकर ही हम सभी लोगों को चलना चाहिए.
All right. This is in fact the advice coming in from the union government. This is the union minister Manojit Mandal, whose advice coming in from the opposition parties. And clearly, of course, there is a point to be made over there, that COVID is something that everyone has to be, prepared for and take adequate precautions given what's happening. And also the point is this, that it is a fact that over the past 48 to 72 hours is since when these alarming reports have been coming in from India's neighborhood. So it's up to us if we choose to act or not act.
He's lecturing about COVID protocols without wearing mask, with 3-4 persons almost, sort of touching him. I mean, look at the Nishit Pramanik, one of the greatest hypocrites. He is the Minister for States, Mr. Amit Shah's deputy. Look how he's meeting the press. Is this the way you carry message to the people of this country? I mean, look at this. I mean, this person has always been a hypocrite. I mean, you have 12 cases of murder, dacoity, extortion. That's besides the point. We are not really arguing about that. But Nitish Pramanik talking about COVID protocols without wearing mask, with 3-4 persons surrounding him, that's the kind of pathetic state of affairs that you have with some of the ministers in the government.
Okay.
We want everyone to follow. And let me tell you, Bengal, thank God for this. Bengal is still doing fine under Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Di has already issued advisory. We are watching the situation very closely. There are certain festivals which have already started in Bengal, but people should be extra cautious about those festivals. But thank God again, we are doing fantastically good, as we did during the most disastrous part of the COVID in 2021 April, where all the BJP top brass has come to Bengal and doing what they are doing, Didi, oh Didi, all kinds of shows we have seen.
I'm not going to get into that political debate right now, but I want to bring in Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta on two very important points. 2 points, Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta. The government has said, the IMA has put out an appeal to follow COVID protocol. It's a fact, and that's been out today. The government has written to INSACOG as well as asking, states to refer to INSACOG positive cases. There's random testing of 2% happening for all international passengers coming in. But there's several other aspects which many are talking about. While the government may have said in the parliament that yes, we have perhaps had record vaccinations, the fact is that boosters perhaps have not been at the level that one would have liked to. Isn't it high time now that we should focus on boosters, focus on whether flights coming from countries that are severely affected should be curtailed? All of these are also very important issues that the government has to deal with before we deal with it internally in terms of the spread and actually bring in COVID protocols. Dr. Dasgupta.
Okay, to quote you on some of the important issues. First, as far as travel restrictions are concerned, very, very fast spreading organisms such as this, and going by the history of COVID transmission, travel restrictions have had extremely minimal, if at all, effects, and therefore travel restrictions are absolutely questionable and it won't make sense. The step that the government has taken is to screen randomly at first international passengers, in specific test them, and that's a correct method of keeping track. Second, as far as the booster doses go, in India, about a third of those eligible have actually taken the booster dose. But what has also happened with the decline in the demand for booster doses and the pretty high coverage of up to 2 doses, the number of vaccination centers is now about 6,000 or 6,500. About 6,000 of them in the public sector, about 500 in the private sector. So if the COVID booster vaccination has to be ramped up, the number of centers has to be activated pretty fast, increased, as well as what we call crisis communication strategies employed and social mobilization happening. And one final point, many of the things are still at the advisory stage and not really a protocol stage, and that's causing some of the confusion. I think we need to close this fuzzy ground. So either the center will have to come out with very specific protocols as far as an individual is concerned, or groups or congregations are concerned, or the local health authorities, whether it be the state or the district, they have to come out with very specific protocols. Now, at least going by media reports, Karnataka has taken some decision regarding indoor gatherings. So it is up to the local and the state health authorities to quickly come up with protocols, and let's not get caught in this fight between.
All right, we'll have to leave it there.
protocol.
We'll have to leave it there, Dr. Dasgupta. Thanks so much for enlightening us. There are a number of points that various governments have to work on. A lot of hands going up, gentlemen, but we're completely out of time on this one. Karan Verma, Syed Zafar Islam, Tehseen Poonawala, Sanjay Jha, Professor Monojit Mandal and Dr. Rajiv Dasgupta, thank you so much for joining us on Debate Number 1 on Newshour this evening. Moving on, as COVID cases surge across the world, India is gearing up to fight against the virus. The Prime Minister today chaired a crucial meeting with his ministers and top officials to review the COVID situation here in India. In the meeting, the Prime Minister has cautioned against complacency and laid emphasis on the need for strengthening surveillance with a focus on genome sequencing and increased testing. The Prime Minister has also advised that there is a need to maintain strict vigil and states must ensure operational readiness of hospitals and infrastructure. States have also rolled out their combat plans with a mask mandate partly returned in India, though limited to one state, that's Karnataka so far, with some conditions. So is India battle ready? Tonight on the News Hour, we're joined by India's top health experts. Let's first and foremost go across to Dr. Naresh Trehan, who is in fact going to be joining us in just a few seconds, and in fact get a sense on what these protocols should be. At this point of time, there is a lot of grey area. While the government has certainly said that restrictions have to come in, it perhaps is still missing in black and white. Let's go across to Dr. Trehan now, Chairman and MD of the Medanta Group. Dr. Trehan, thank you so much for joining us this evening. First and foremost, as we were just debating in the previous debate, there's some amount of grey areas. There are congregations happening. It doesn't matter if they're religious, political, social, cultural, so on and so forth. We all know that it is big events like that that have been super spreaders in the past. Now, while the IMA may have come out and issued appeals on masking and social distancing, there's no government protocol yet on that, and that perhaps is causing some amount of confusion. Do you think the time is right for the government to quickly issue those protocols and end whatever grey areas there may be?
So, if you look at it, government has to act on responsibly on data that becomes evident. Today we know that there is a fire burning in China, that it's like the numbers are just devastatingly high. We know that some of it has spilled over, you see in Japan and some of the other countries and even the US. But there is a mismatch. What we are seeing from China as so many deaths and hospitalizations, but we are not seeing in the rest of the world yet. Okay. Now India, on the other hand, has to watch its own vulnerability in this whole environment. The basic thing is, why is China going through what it's going through? And the best guess is that the population was locked up for 2 years. There was zero COVID policy. And that now that they have started moving out and mixing, that the COVID has, because their immunity has not been boosted by natural infection or by their vaccine, which is in question whether it's efficacious or not. So these factors may be playing a huge role in the Chinese situation. India, on the other hand, had a very successful vaccination program. 220 crore people doses have been administered. And the fact is that there is a large number of people who did get COVID, whether it was in the Alpha or the Delta or the Omicron case. So there is a dual immunity that Indians have developed from the vaccine and from the natural boosting from whenever they got infected. So if you look at the fact that how vulnerable is India now, given the background, is yet to be seen. So today there have been, like maybe more cases will come up, but 4 cases that were detected in India with BF7 have all recovered. It's not so virulent as far as that is concerned. And historically, if you look at the behavior pattern of viruses, that every time they mutate, they become more infective, but less virulent. Means they don't.
Yes, I was coming to that point exactly.
As otherwise. So that's why that all these differentiators have to be kept in mind before we say that we panic and say shut down everything or lockdown or everybody goes this way.
Absolutely.
But having said all that, let me just put it in perspective of what I believe or what we believe in the scientific community, how we should progress further. So on one hand, you have 3 things that we have to look at. One is, what is the actual situation outside and measure it against what I just talked about. The second is, what should the government do? And the third is what an individual should do as a society. So what the government is doing today is saying, look, wherever there is detection of any positivity of COVID, do genome sequencing to know what variant are we getting affected with.
Yes.
Second, because in our Delta wave and also subsequent to that, and I was participating in it because I was also named a member of the Supreme Court committee to just monitor this whole situation and give suggestions, that we have a very real early sensor information system in place. So we are saying if at any block level there is an outbreak, it is reported real time into the Central Health Ministry Command Center. So if we are monitoring India in that intensity, we are hoping that an outbreak will not take place and we'll take graded measures to be able to protect the population.
Right. Dr.
As an individual today, from the facts that we have, I believe that we should avoid going to crowded places. If we have to go, wear a mask. If you are traveling in an aircraft, I think you should wear a mask. If you are going to a movie hall, in a theatre, you should be going where you will be parked for 2 hours with hundreds of people in there, wear a mask. So we are not at a stage today where we say there is panic or we should shut down anything. I think we should be responsible because we have always talked about life and livelihood and we must keep the balance going.
Absolutely. But sir, one important point that I want to come to you on, and this is one area where a lot of concern has been expressed, and that is when it comes to the boosters. While the government may have said, and perhaps rightly so, that it has set records in terms of total vaccination, the fact is that a large proportion of our population has still not received the booster. And do you think that perhaps is an area that requires a refocus or redoubling of efforts, at least on part of the government?
So I'll tell you the background on that. That booster is available. It's not like it's not available, that's why it's not happening. It's people have made a choice. People are saying, is it really required? Is it really going to help me? Or these new variants can pierce through any vaccine that is available today. Now if you look at what some of the other European countries and US has done, they have developed what we call bivalent vaccines. So they are supposedly quote unquote effective against not only the previous virus but some of the mutations also.
Right.
So what can India do as far as that is concerned? We should also, like every year, the flu vaccine is tweaked to beat the challenge of the new virus. Similarly, we may have to do it for COVID also. So, I think today, elderly people and people with comorbidities should get a booster.
Right.
They should also wear a mask. Now we have three situations playing on us right now. This is the flu season. Also, the air quality is devastatingly bad in North India. And third, there is this overhanging fear of COVID coming back. So if you have a cough and a cold, mask yourself and isolate for the first 4 to 5 days so that you don't infect your immediate environment,
right,
your families or your workplace. You don't need to do more than that right now.
Right.
The second thing is that if you must get yourself tested, you can do a self-test, at-home test that is available at a reasonable price. And if that is positive, of course, you should get an RT-PCR because then the genome sequencing can be done on it and
Absolutely.
we will have an idea of what we are dealing with.
There's a lot of concern also. Dr. Trayan, a lot of people have concern about children as well because, we've seen that there are vaccines out there, in terms of the actual coverage of children being vaccinated because very small children, as you all know, cannot be. What is the latest advice on that one and where would you stand in terms of advising parents on how they should go ahead in the wake of this fresh threat?
So, we chose, a lot of children did get vaccinated and some of them may not have been vaccinated, but their immunity will be dependent on whether they got the vaccine, one or the 2 doses, whether they got COVID at somewhere along the line so that they have developed some natural immunity. And I think that there is one of the few things that is on the anvil is the fact that how effective is the nasal vaccine? Is it, because it is not being used in very large numbers to be able to say whether it's protective or not, but it's a very convenient way of doing it.
Okay.
And if the preliminary studies show that it is effective, but the real post-market study or what we call phase 4 of any trial is still to come. That proof is still to come.
All right.
So I think that there are many things happening, moving parts are, but we should put it together on a regular basis on the information that comes through. So we should neither be foolhardy and say, oh, COVID, we'll deal with it or we don't care. No. But on the other hand, don't panic and run.
Let's not over panic as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Trayan, for joining us and sharing with us your perspective. We are also joined by 2 other doctors on our panel. We have with us Dr. N.K. Mehra, who is in fact the former Dean of AIIMS. Also with us is Dr. R.R. Gangakhedkar, who is the former head of the Division of Epidemiology and Communicable Diseases. Thank you so much, doctors, for joining us. But we have our viewers joining us and we're going to pose some questions from them. Kush is our first viewer joining us from Bengaluru. Yes, Kush, your question for the doctors.
Question is that those who already had COVID and still suffering from after effects, how susceptible they are to COVID again?
Okay. Dr. Gangakhedkar, would you like to take that question? Dr. Gangakhedkar, can you hear me, sir?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question from the viewer is those who already have had, after effects of COVID, how susceptible are they to this new variant is the question, if I got it right.
If I understood it correctly, people have got infection and how susceptible they are to acquire the infection now.
After effects of COVID, yes.
Yes. Now, one of the things which we have to remember is no matter what, the vaccines have lower efficacy in preventing new infection. Even the virus, when it mutates, it tries to overcome the immune protection that is generated even by infection itself. So essentially the variant that comes out is an escape mutant against the antibodies that have been generated by vaccine as well as those by the infection itself, natural infection itself. So it is going to have, it is likely to pose challenges in terms of preventing the infection. But that doesn't mean vaccines don't prevent infection at all. They prevent it at a lesser protective level compared to what it protects against hospitalization as well as the risk of death per se. And that is the main reason why we are keeping on saying, please continue to take the precautionary dose, because that would be useful not only in protecting you from hospitalization and death, but also to some extent against getting new infection. Right? New infections can happen even if you have hybrid immunity.
All right, Dr. Mehra, your views on this?
Yes, of course. I think those who have had infection in the past, and if they're vaccinated, they would have the hybrid immunity. Those are the people who are really covered extremely well. But of course, there are other factors as well. If you have underlying, diseases like diabetes or other autoimmune diseases, you can have the breakthrough infection as well. But by and large, I think the population of India has done very well. You saw that in the Delta wave, you saw that in the Omicron wave. This year, from January to March, the number of people who got infected with Omicron was very high. This is not the case in China. The problem in China is very different from India. India has done very well. China, on the other hand, with a flawed policy of zero.
Dr. Mehra, if I can just ask you to hold on to your thoughts. Another viewer joining us, Anand from Mumbai. Yes, Anand.
Good evening, doctors. My question is, I have had both the vaccines, the two vaccines initially, and I was almost all set to go in for the booster dose when in the interim I had a brush with the Omicron variant. After which some of the doctors told me that Omicron is a natural booster and you now need to go for the booster vaccine. So how true is that? That Dr. is number one. And the second one is, and the second question is, now for the new variant or whatever that we see coming, is there a new vaccine that somebody needs to take, and where will this end?
Okay, new variant, new vaccine, and does a person who has Omicron, does he have a natural booster? Dr. Mehra.
Well, that has been a faulty belief actually. I have had 2 vaccine doses, now I got the Omicron infection, now I don't need to take the booster. And that is why you saw that the number of people in India who have taken the booster dose is still very, very low. It's about only 1/3 of the eligible group actually. So I think our focus now should be on those only, whether or not you had Omicron infection or not. Let that infection be there, but the booster dose is a must.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Dr. Ganga Khedkar and Dr. Mehra, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us. Certainly a lot of questions that our viewers have, a lot that our doctors perhaps have answered, but certainly with, in fact, the government coming out and sounding the alarm, or at least asking for protocols to come out into place, certainly a lot of concern also that, and a lot of responsibility also on citizens. It's not just the government, citizens too will have to ensure that masking, social distancing, they're all prevention that can actually be put in place by their own responsible activities at the end of the day should be there to ensure the safety of all. Thank you so much, gentlemen and doctors, for joining us this evening.
The News Hour at 9 will be right back after the break.
इनकेस आप मिलेनियन वाली जनरेशन से हैं तो आपने शायद वो गाना सुना होगा, देखा जो तुझे यार दिल में बजी गिटार। सो कुछ ऐसे अगर आप मूड में हैं तो यहाँ पे ये गिटार की स्ट्रिंग्स टाइप दी गई हैं, एग्जैक्टली स्ट्रिंग्स नहीं है बट ऐसे कुछ मूड में है तो आप इनका इस्तेमाल उस समय जरूर कर सकते हैं। अब आप समझ गए होंगे कि गाड़ी कौन सी है, हाल ही में इसका लॉन्च हुआ था, ये है BYD की Atto 3 और क्या परफॉर्मेंस, क्या रेंज, क्या डिजाइन, क्या फीचर्स BYD अपने इस इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में दे रहा है, उन सभी के बारे में मैं आपसे बात करने वाला हूं इस वीडियो में। और वीडियो के अंत में हमेशा की तरह बात करेंगे 3 धांसू और 3 नॉट धांसू एलिमेंट्स मुझे क्या लगे इस BYD Atto 3 के बारे में। तो चलिए शुरुआत करते हैं। तो शुरुआत कर लेते हैं इस Atto 3 के डिजाइन वाले एस्पेक्ट से। तो फ्रंट में BYD कहना है ये गाड़ी का डिजाइन जो है ओवरऑल ड्रैगन इंस्पायर्ड है, चाइनीज ब्रांड है, तो कुछ वैसा ही एसेंस BYD कैरी हमने इस गाड़ी के डिज़ाइन और स्टाइलिंग में देने की कोशिश करी है। हालांकि ड्रैगन इंस्पायर्ड तो मुझे फ्रंट ज़्यादा नहीं लग रहा है, बट फिर भी यहाँ पे सेंटर में बड़ा सा BYD का लोगो है, क्रोम का एलिमेंट दिया गया है थ्रू आउट जो जाता है इसके फ्रंट हेडलाइट के ऊपर से सेंटर तक। एंड हेडलाइट जो है क्रिस्टल LED कॉम्बिनेशन लाइट्स यहाँ पर इसमें देखने को मिल रही है। एंड DRL देख रहे हैं, देखने में खूबसूरत ही काफ़ी लग रहा है। इसका फ्रंट जो लाइट का सेक्शन है काफ़ी स्लीक कॉम्पैक्ट इसका हेडलाइट का डिज़ाइन लग रहा है। एंड जो टर्न इंडिकेटर्स हैं वो भी इसके DRL में ही इंटीग्रेटेड हैं, तो यहाँ पे जब इसको टर्न इंडिकेटर ऑन होंगे तो ये DRL टर्न इंडिकेटर का काम भी करेगा। इसके अलावा इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ी है तो फ्रंट में कुछ यहाँ पे इवेंट वगैरह देखने को नहीं मिलेगा, ऑब्वियस है। एंड इसमें जो है ADAS लेवल 2 के फीचर्स देख सकते हैं आप, यहाँ सेंसर्स वगैरह, रेडार वगैरह यहाँ पे इसमें देखने को मिल रहा है। एंड 360 डिग्री कैमरा यहाँ पर इस BYD की Atto 3 में इधर दिया गया है। साइड प्रोफाइल पे आए तो यहाँ पर जो टायर्स इसमें दिए गए हैं वो हैं 18 इंच के 215 सेक्शन के टायर्स दिए गए हैं। एंड यहाँ पे जो डिजाइन है एलॉयस का, ये भी थोड़ा स्पोर्टी स्टाइलिश देखने में जरूर लग रहा है। BYD का हब यहाँ पे सेंटर में दिया गया है व्हील में। एंड ओवरऑल जो यहाँ पे डिजाइन है, यहाँ पे क्लैडिंग थ्रू आउट जाती हुई आपको पीछे तक इसमें देखने को मिलेगी। BYD डिजाइन की बैजिंग यहाँ दी गई है क्रोम में। यहाँ पे जो है इसका ये चार्जिंग सॉकेट है। एंड इसका जो चार्जिंग सॉकेट है वो आप एक्सटर्नल पावर कहीं आपको देनी है, छोटा मोटा कुछ आपको कॉफी मशीन टाइप, छोटा मोटा फ्रिज आपको यहाँ पे इससे एक्टिवेट करना है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी देनी है वहां पे, तो उसका इस्तेमाल इस तरह से भी करा जा सकता है। तो ये एक ऑप्शन BYD ने इस Atto 3 में दिया है। इन साइड प्रोफाइल में क्रोम का एलिमेंट थ्रू आउट इसके विंडोज के आसपास। एंड यहाँ पर थोड़ा ये सिल्वर टच इसके रूफ रेल में इधर देखने को मिल रहा है। डोर हैंडल्स जो हैं बॉडी कलर्ड है। एंड ORVM जो है इसमें जो है हीटेड का भी ऑप्शन दिया गया है, तो हीटेड ORVMs है। एंड ब्लाइंड स्पॉट मॉनिटरिंग के फीचर्स ऑब्वियस यहाँ देखने को मिलेंगे कि ADAS लेवल 2 के सेफ्टी फीचर्स इसमें दिए गए हैं।
You're watching the News Hour at 9.
Shraddha Walkar murder accused Aftab Poonawala today withdrew his bail application before a Delhi court. His lawyer told the court that the previous plea was moved because of a miscommunication. The Maharashtra government has announced a probe by an SIT into the death of talent manager Disha Salyan. Over 25 lakh Panchamshali Lingayats took out a massive rally in Belagavi, Karnataka. Today, the community is seeking a larger share of reservation quota for the OBCs. They later called off the protest after assurances from the Chief Minister. Actor Jacqueline Fernandez appeared before Patiala House Court in Delhi today in relation to a money laundering case. She decided to withdraw the plea to travel abroad, which she had earlier filed. Former Delhi Prison's chief Sandeep Goyal has been suspended by Home Ministry on extortion claims by conman Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Bombay High Court has given relief to Chief Minister of Maharashtra Eknath Shinde in NIT plots case. On December 16, the Urban Development Department had cancelled order to transfer land to a private person and made the land available for slum dwellers. While inaugurating a mega Christmas event in Kolkata, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that her state is one where people are not divided based on their religious identity. Delhi police have refuted any claims of trespassing or vandalism on the premises of Bawa Colony in Burari amidst conversion claims. The complaint was received by police on December 11. Delhi police have questioned Flipkart officials in relation to Dwarka acid attack case. The accused in this case had procured acid used for attacking a young girl online.
The News Hour at 9 will be right back after the break.
The smartphone category in India is anyway popular, right? उसमें भी जो 20 से 25 हजार वाले स्मार्टफोन्स हैं वो और भी ज्यादा पॉपुलर हैं। शायद इसीलिए इन्फिनिक्स ने आज अपना 020 स्मार्टफोन लॉन्च कर दिया है। I have the smartphone with me right here और इसको आज करेंगे अनबॉक्स। Hi, you're watching Gadget Time. This is me, Padmaja, and it's time for me to unbox this device और देखते हैं फोन में आपको क्या-क्या contents दिखाई देंगे। Let's begin. कि आपने देखा यहाँ पर स्टिकर उतारते हुए मैंने ऐसे थोड़ा सा गंद मचा दी। यहाँ पे स्टिकर ऑलरेडी दिखाई दे रहा है, बट इसको क्लीन करेंगे बाद में। अभी बात करेंगे स्मार्टफोन के बारे में। थोड़ा सा मुझे वेट इसका ज्यादा लग रहा है, वो यूज करने के बाद पता चलेगा कि ये कितना कंफर्टेबल है। अदर देन दैट यू गेट 3 कैमराज एट द बैक। इसको आपको मिलेगा स्क्वायरिश कैमरा मॉड्यूल के अंदर। द मेन कैमरा इज 108 मेगापिक्सल और यही इसका यूएसपी है। सिर्फ बैक कैमरास की बात नहीं है बॉस, आपको फ्रंट कैमरा भी बहुत ही धांसू दिखाई दे रहा है। एटलीस्ट ऑन द स्पेक शीट यूज करने पे पता चलेगा कि कितना अच्छा है या नहीं अच्छा है। फ्रंट कैमरा जो इसका है वो आपको मिलता है 60 मेगापिक्सल का फ्रंट शूटर। आपको इसमें दिखाई देगा फुल HD प्लस एमोलेड पैनल। बेजल्स थोड़े से मुझे मोटे दिखाई दे रहे हैं, टॉप और बॉटम वाला स्पेशली। साइड बेजल्स आर स्टिल स्लिम। व्हाट कीप्स दिस स्मार्टफोन अलाइव इज Helio G99 चिपसेट। बैटरी की बात करें तो इसमें आपको मिलता है 45 वॉट का फास्ट चार्जिंग सिस्टम, विच इज प्रिटी गुड। एट द बॉटम यू ऑल्सो गेट अ 3.5 mm हेडफोन जैक एंड दैट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि आजकल के फोन में ये आपको बिल्कुल दिखाई नहीं देता है। सो यू डू नॉट हैव टू जस्ट रिलाई ऑन योर वायरलेस ईयरबड्स। आप यहाँ पर अपने वायर्ड हेडफोन्स का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। स्पीकर के साथ आपको मिलता है Type-C पोर्ट, ऊपर की तरफ माइक्रोफोन है, राइट साइड पे आपको मिलता है वॉल्यूम रॉकर और साथ में पावर बटन। लेफ्ट साइड इज प्रीटी क्लीन, लेकिन यहाँ पे आपको मिलता है सिम ट्रे और सिम इंजेक्टर टूल बॉक्स में आपको मिलता है, वो मैं दिखा चुकी हूँ। यहीं पर सिम ट्रे की बात करते करते मेरी नजर गई है फ्रेम पर, विच इज प्रीटी ग्लॉसी। मेटल तो नहीं है, लेकिन ऐसा फील जरूर दे रहा है दैट इट्स मेटल। बाकी ये था मेरा ओवरऑल लुक एट द स्मार्टफोन। अगर आप जानना चाहते हैं कि क्या आपको ये खरीदना चाहिए एट अराउंड ₹20,000-25,000, क्या ये अच्छा ऑप्शन है या नहीं, उसके लिए यू रियली नीड टू स्टे ट्यून्ड टू गैजेट टाइम्स टू फाइंड आउट इट्स फुल रिव्यू। नाउ यू गाइज नो द ड्रिल, लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब एंड जस्ट स्टे ट्यून्ड टू गैजेट टाइम्स। थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो।
You clever, make some more.
Welcome, you're watching the Newshour agenda. I'm Padmaja in the 24 hours. The Bharat Jodo Yatra from 24 hours from now will enter the country's national capital. This is at a time when the country has been asked to be alert after a review meeting that was held today by the centre chaired by the Prime Minister. Already the Congress party has been requested yesterday by the Union Health Minister to adhere to COVID norms during its Yatra, but to no avail. Today, all available images showed that COVID appropriate behavior was absent, and it was as absent as the mask on the face of Yatris. The Union Health Minister, remember, yesterday had asked for 3 things to be observed during the Yatra in a letter to Rahul Gandhi and Ashok Gehlot: social distancing, masking and sanitizing. Sadly, all 3 were absent when the topmost leaders of the party were on stage in Haryana, and if that wasn't enough, the face of the Yatra, which is Mr. Gandhi himself, then ridiculed all appeals for caution as a bahana. Listen in.
अब यात्रा को रोकने के लिए बहाने बन रहे हैं, बहाने बन रहे हैं। मास्क पहनो, यात्रा बंद करो, कोविड फैल रहा है, सब बहाने हैं।
So is mask a bahana? Well, the Council of Ministers and the PM certainly didn't think so. They all masked up today in Parliament. In fact, so did the chair of both the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. In fact, so did many members of Parliament of the opposition. Then why is there this persistence in the Congress in militating against basic precaution? Is it only because the government has suggested it?
We are very much abiding the rules of this country every time. Whenever the COVID started, we are the party totally abide by the Corona guidelines. But here, clearly a double standard of BJP, you can see that. Every day Prime Minister is doing rally. 2 days before only he done a rally in Tripura. Whether the Health Minister wrote a letter to the Prime Minister. He is asking Bharat Jodo Yatra to be stopped. That shall be the clear indication of the success of Bharat Jodo Yatra. This is a certificate for Bharat Jodo Yatra success. Therefore, we are very much aware of this fact.
It's one thing to not agree to follow protocol, quite another to dismiss COVID altogether as a bahana. If a senior leader like Rahul Gandhi takes this stance, what exactly is the message being sent to the general population?
You're watching the News Hour at 10.
RP Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP, Harshvardhan Tripathi, senior journalist, Dushyant Nagar, political analyst, actor and leader of the Congress, Bhavna Ramanna, first question, is to Kamar Zaman Chaudhary, leader of the Congress. Why wouldn't you mask up? Leave everything else aside. Leave Bharat Jodo Yatra, leave every other Yatra. Why would you not wear a mask?
Padmaja, on 31st March, India withdrew all the COVID restrictions from India. On November 16, 2022, Ministry of Civil Aviation issued a notification withdrawing the
Mr. Chaudhary, I am asking you about
all
today.
Domestic and international flights.
As of today, as of today, you are seeing pictures, I am seeing pictures. Frankly, even if the government hadn't said a word, there were people who started wearing masks. Why? Not because the government has asked me to, but when I see pictures of people gasping for breath in China, I feel let's just wear a mask. My principal question is, why would you not wear a mask? You do your yatra, you do whatever you want, just wear a mask.
Why should I wear a mask?
Why shouldn't you wear a mask?
No, you tell me, Padmaja, you tell me, why should I wear a mask? Has the health ministry, I don't accept and believe the BJP
Sir, leave the health ministry. I am saying,
their
as a human being,
the health ministry,
as a sentient human being, you see videos of people getting COVID. This is like saying that, nobody has told me it's winter yet. It hasn't officially been declared winter. So if somebody tells me to wear a shawl when I leave the house, I will not wear a shawl. Why should I wear a shawl? Has the Home Ministry said that it's winter? I will not wear a shawl. Has the Met Department declared winter? Why should I wear a shawl? I will wear a shawl because you feel cold.
No, Padmaja, that's not the case. You tell me to do something which I will not do. Because you are fear mongering, that is fear, that is absolutely clear to the countryman. You see, on 2020 with 4 hours notice, you issued a COVID bandi all over India without even considering what will happen to the India during this COVID
bandi. I genuinely, sometimes I feel like, I am a parent talking to a child. I genuinely want to know, why wouldn't you wear a mask? Is your yatra getting stopped because of a mask?
Yes, I am coming. Padmaja, now you want the scientific reasons, though I am not a scientist out here, but whatever I know, 2 days ago the Ministry of Health through his secretary has issued a notification to all the states to continue with the genome sequencing so that any new variant can be caught up
leave
easily.
The government, leave the PM, leave the health secretary, leave everyone. I am just saying that if you are in a crowded place,
one valid reason.
What happens if you wear a mask?
Reason why should Indians mask up once again?
Why shouldn't you mask up?
Why should you dictate me what I do without the scientific fraternity? So without the scientific fraternity advising us what should be done.
But
the question remains here, is the government serious on imposing the COVID?
Sir, the health ministry has taken the advice of
scientists. Where is the notification then?
And the scientific advisory, the scientific advisors to tell you to wear a mask.
Padmaja, if
I am asking you a simple question. Even if the government has not asked you to, what is the harm? What is the harm? I am saying don't stop the yatra. Nothing, do nothing. Continue with your yatra, cover 100 kilometers every day. But what is the harm of wearing a mask? What is the harm?
Padmaja, one very मतलब कि बहुत बुरा बात मैं बोलने जा रहा हूँ. Nobody in India now believes the ability of the Modi government's minister to deliver, because they, apart from just singing songs for their master, nobody is practically bothered about what is the situation in the country. If the COVID situation is,
what is the delivery? The health minister is saying कि please wear a mask.
अगर situation इतना ही खराब है, नहीं, I don't believe this man, the health minister.
You don't believe this man?
When all the COVID deaths were happening, when the oxygen shortages were there?
Okay.
No,
Who do you believe
never.
though?
Because we doubt the ability of this government in delivering to the people of India.
But what does this have to do with
They are only
delivery?
on the propaganda drive, the old 24/7, 365 days.
Sir, what does this have to do with delivery? All they are saying is wear a mask.
Why should I go into a cocoon once again? No, why should I?
Cocoon?
No, why should I go into a cocoon? Why should I get into a COVID restriction once again? Just because some minister has said that, okay, please mask yourself.
Okay.
अरे डर अच्छा है. Because भारत जोड़ो यात्रा is entering Delhi.
अरे
डर इसीलिए अच्छा है.
डर भारत
क्योंकि
जोड़ो से
आज तक
ज्यादा
तो
अभी
COVID
हमें
पे-
वायरस
आज
का है.
भारत जोड़ो यात्रा you never bother.
सर आप कीजिए भारत जोड़ो. Okay. Why should they believe you? RP Singh. They don't believe you. अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि अभी कोविड है, इसका मतलब कोविड नहीं है, because Congress does not believe you. So they will not wear a mask. Why should they wear a mask?
No, show me the data
Padmaja,
that COVID. June महीना में this variant
gentleman
is coming to
is the
India.
official spokesman.
After 6 months, suddenly you realize there is a COVID emergency.
Okay, hold on a second, sir. Hold on a second. I will show you actually advisories which have been given in October, advisories which have been given in June, but we'll come to that in just a second. Why should they believe you? RP Singh. Let's start with that.
Padmaja, I hope the gentleman is the official spokesperson of the Congress party. If he is so, then he seems to be repeating what Maulana Saad said in April 2020. Tablighi Jamaat head. He said, हम क्यों परवाह करें, हमारे पर तो अल्लाह की मेहर है. We have been taken care by the Lord. Why shall we bother about the corona? And we countries suffered thereon. Exactly same is happening now. Advisory has been issued by the minister requesting the yatris and the head of the yatra and the respective state governments to do the needful and take care. I mean, and mask and sanitization is the basis and very basic. I mean, and maintaining social distance adds to that, but they won't accept it because वो मंत्री कौन होता है, वो इंजेक्शन नकली है, वो वैक्सीनेशन अच्छा नहीं है, चाइनीज वैक्सीनेशन अच्छा है, वो अमेरिकन वैक्सीनेशन अच्छा है. रिमेंबर ऑल दीज वर्ड्स. वो वैक्सीनेशन के अंदर कोई जानवर का ब्लड स्ट्रीम है, कुछ ऐसा भी बोला था, कुछ समथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट. They will keep raising the question of even the scientific fraternity. Remember, they raise question of the scientific fraternity also. कि the vaccination is not appropriate. वो बीजेपी का वैक्सीनेशन है, ये कोविड नहीं मोविड है. I still remember all that. And then same was with case with Maulana Saad of the Jamaat. Tablighi Jamaat. He also was raising questions. So same is the case today.
Okay,
we are
opposing for
you,
the
sir.
heck of it.
It's not issue of me or you or BJP or Congress. It's basically the question of India. It's
Okay, opposing for the heck of it, Bhavna Ramanna, which has come to the ridiculous proportions that today if the government gets up and says that, you know, everyone should wake up in the morning and sleep at night, somebody in Congress will say, why should we wake up in the morning and sleep at night?
Ma'am, I would want to ask you first question that you said it now, just in the beginning of the program itself. You said when it is, when people of China, they're feeling breathless, then I would love to have a mask on my face.
Yes.
Why would you do that? That is my question.
Why would
you do that?
As a
how well
precaution,
do you
ma'am?
know that it's coming from China, and then how well do it has been there since last 3 years? No, ma'am, it has been there since last 3 years, and all
Actually,
Chinese
madam,
people have
till the
been
beginning
locked
of
up in their
December,
houses for last 3
the
years.
Chinese
So you
government
should have
had
blocked the
imposed their
process
zero
too.
COVID policy
You should
and
have
their zero
blocked the
COVID
process
measures
too.
that was lifted at the beginning of December, and which is where this explosion has happened. And that is why now when you see these images, I
That's
for one
only
would
when
want to wear a
people
mask.
became more,
Even if the government did tell me.
Please go ahead. Ma'am, please go ahead. Nobody is stopping you not to wear. If you want to wear, please go ahead and wear it.
You don't
But
think it's
please
important
do
to
not
wear a
ask
mask?
others. not impose any more, because I think people are now just breathing, now just started to breathe a fresh air, one. And two, the Gujarat elections are over, and in Karnataka we are going to be facing elections very soon, and this is how we are treated in a democracy.
But ma'am, in a democracy we should stay alive.
Partial.
How is it partial? Everyone gets to wear a mask.
The government is so biased and partial, then where is the scope for any kind of democracy?
But what does democracy have to do with wearing a mask?
It is not suitable for everyone's body. It is not suitable for everyone's health.
A mask is not suitable.
It is not about what is wrong, what is right. Whenever you are saying that it is right to wear a mask, it is your right, then you wear it. Nobody is stopping you. But if somebody is saying that it is wrong for me, then I should be heard too. I should be given the right of not wearing
this
it.
Is what anti-vaxxers say.
Is that right?
Ma'am, this is what anti-vaxxers say. This is literally what anti-vaxxers, now we have anti-maskers.
There has been...
And they are ridiculed as a loony fringe all over the world. This is what anti-vaxxers say. That I don't want to take vaccine because it's my democratic right.
And I will never continue to wear mask. Sorry ma'am, even on vaccination there cannot be any imposition. It is about their own wish. It is about their own wish. It is their health. It is their wish. It is their body. It is one's body. I have no right to say that one should take this vaccination and one should take whatever I say, you should take the same kind of medication, same kind of vaccination. No, nobody has a right to say that. It is my body, it is my
I'm a little gobsmacked, I have to say this. But before I go across to Mr. Harshvardhan, I want to ask you again, just for my sake of understanding, why exactly don't you want to wear a mask? Ma'am, why don't you want to wear a mask exactly? Miss Ramanna?
Sorry ma'am?
Why don't you want to wear a mask? What are your exact reasons?
To start, I do not feel comfortable wearing a mask. If somebody feels comfortable wearing 2 layers and 3 layers and 4 layers, they can go ahead. But I never felt comfortable wearing it, one, to start with. And two, in democracy, it is about, as I said, it is about me and it is about my health and my body. And it is my decision. It is not somebody else's decision. It is my own decision for my health and my body. So I would not wear it because it does not go with my body and my health.
Harshvardhan ji, my body, my mask.
पद्मजा, सबसे पहले तो मैं ये कहूंगा कि हमारे देश को कोरोना से कोई खतरा नहीं है, कतई कोई खतरा नहीं है। हमारे देश के बहुत शानदार वैज्ञानिकों ने, वैक्सीन बनाने वाली कंपनियों ने और हमारे देश की सरकार ने, एक डिसाइसिव लीडरशिप ने शानदार वैक्सीनेशन प्रोग्राम चलाया, शानदार कोविड मैनेजमेंट किया कि दुनिया भर में जिस देश में सबसे ज्यादा नुकसान होने की आशंका जताई जा रही थी, हमने उसको ध्वस्त कर दिया। कुछ लोग हमें चाइनीज मॉडल अपनाने की भी सलाह दे रहे थे, बाकायदा रिसर्च जर्नल में आर्टिकल्स लिखे गए थे कि हमें उधर जाना चाहिए, तो हम उस सब से निकल आए। लेकिन पद्मजा, कोरोना से खतरा हमें नहीं है, लेकिन गैर जिम्मेदार राजनेताओं से बहुत बड़ा खतरा है। और ये वो गैर जिम्मेदार नेता हैं जिनको ये समझ में नहीं आता है कि माई बॉडी माई चॉइस ये किस संदर्भ में इस्तेमाल हो सकता है। अगर पैंडेमिक की स्थिति है, अगर वायरस की स्थिति है, अगर एक दूसरे से वायरस स्प्रेड होने की स्थिति है, तो माई बॉडी माई चॉइस नहीं रह जाता है। और अगर आपको किसी तरह की मुश्किल है, मैं तो दूसरी ही डिबेट में सोच रहा था कि दूसरी तरह की बात होगी, लेकिन मैं अपनी बात पूरी कर लूं, प्लीज प्लीज प्लीज, मैं अपनी बात पूरी कर लूं, फिर आप कहिएगा। लेकिन यहां तो दूसरी तरह की सोच के लोग कांग्रेस में हैं, और अब मुझे समझ में आता है कि राहुल गांधी जब इस तरह की बात करते हैं तो वो किस तरह के लोगों से घिरे हुए हैं। और शायद इसीलिए देश की हर मुश्किल ऐसी चीज है जहां पे लगता है कि देश को आप मुश्किल से निकाल सकते हैं, तो राहुल गांधी जी और उनकी टीम के पास कुछ आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स कहने के लिए होता है, और वो आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स देश को मुश्किल में डाल रहा है। मुझे तो आश्चर्य हो रहा है, ये पूरी बहस होनी चाहिए थी क्या? एक चिट्ठी दी थी, आप हेल्थ मिनिस्टर की चिट्ठी पर कहते कि हां ठीक है, हम जिम्मेदार पार्टी हैं, हम अपनी यात्रा वैसे भी रोकते हैं, ये यात्रा हर 15 दिन 20 दिन पे रुकती रही, और हम ठीक है, अगर आपको लगता है तो हम मास्क पहनेंगे, नहीं तो जरूरत होगी तो रोक देंगे। लेकिन आप सोचिए कि आज नेशनल टेलीविजन पे 2 दिनों से हमें बहस करनी पड़ रही है कि देश की सबसे पुरानी पार्टी भारत जोड़ो यात्रा पर निकला नेता, वो कह रहा है मैं मास्क नहीं पहनूंगा, और उसकी पार्टी के नेता कह रहे हैं कि अरे भैया मास्क तो पहनना ही नहीं चाहिए, ये तो हमारी स्वतंत्रता का हनन है। इन्हें लगता है, जो जिसको कहते हैं ना कि सोशल साइंस में जो पढ़ाया जाता है कि नागरिकों के अधिकार क्या होते हैं, भैया छड़ी घुमाओ लेकिन दूसरे की नाक पे नहीं लगनी चाहिए। ये वायरस है, ये कोई आपके घर की हाइजीन, आपके घर की सुरक्षा या आपके कपड़े या आपका खाना नहीं है। इतनी सामान्य सी बात कांग्रेस के लोगों को क्यों नहीं समझ में आ रही?
And Mr. Amarnath, this is reminiscent of that time when it came to vaccination, people were like, this is BJP vaccine, we will not take it. I will not take this vaccine. You know, while it sounds funny, great, you know, esoteric to say these things on television, there is a large audience which is going to hear and say, अरे कोविड तो बकवास है, कोविड तो बहाना है, मास्क पहनना नहीं चाहिए, राहुल जी ने बोला था कि मास्क तो पहनना ही हमें चुप कराने के लिए है. Then they go back to their houses. And this kind of dangerous myth making percolates down to people, and we have the kind of explosion we saw in 2020. Isn't this irresponsible?
Ma'am, the irresponsibility is about making people locked up in their houses, not having job for many, many months and years.
It will not come to that, ma'am, if you just wear a mask.
They didn't know where to go. They didn't know where to go for the health.
Do you realize that by saying it's my choice to not wear a mask, you are pushing our country in a direction where we will lose jobs and be shut in our houses?
Ma'am, it is not about the mask. Ma'am, whoever wants to wear a mask, nobody is stopping them at all.
But ma'am, everyone must wear it.
I do not want to wear.
I hate needles. I am mortally scared of needles. But I have taken my vaccines, I have taken my booster, because it's not just about me. I can infect you if I become infected. I'd rather, you know, have an operation than take a needle.
Ma'am, if you're already getting infected, looking at Chinese just on television, so obviously you can just you can feel infected just looking at me without wearing a mask too on the screen itself, because it is about psychology too.
No, it is not about psychology. It's a virus.
So whatever daravni cheez bol rahe hain hum log, it is about psychology. You are psychologically, yes, it is. Nobody is saying there is no virus, because jab bhi hum log bolenge, especially this government, whenever it says the virus will come, because it is a virus. That is why it is not naturally developed virus. It is a man-made virus, and it is already told by our own scientists itself in our country. So obviously it will come whenever the government is prepared to bring the virus. As simple as that. We are okay, we have fought, and we are ready to fight with our immunity and things like that.
You are ready to fight with your immunity. Quick response, Harshvardhan ji. I think all of us are a little taken aback. I mean, I genuinely hadn't expected this.
So obviously all this can happen now, and they really don't want people to be happy, because it is New Year. We are approaching Christmas, we are approaching New Year, where people are really getting set for their holidays, and this is what that you are bringing in. So now you'll say you have party with a mask on.
So you're saying that Modi ji's number one concern is कि मैं New Year की party कैसे खराब करूं? I really don't think.
To close the restaurants by 10 o'clock in the night.
Okay, quick response, Harshvardhan ji, and then RP Singh.
This is not done.
आप क्यों New Year के दुश्मन बने हुए हैं?
मुझे सचमुच ये लग रहा है ना, अब तो ये डिबेट और आगे चली गई। अब ये कह रहे हैं कि जब सरकार चाहेगी तब वायरस आ जाएगा। न्यू ईयर है, क्रिसमस है, इसलिए वायरस आ रहा है। और क्या कोई भी सरकार, भारत की सरकार ने,
मैं वही सोच रही हूं,
लॉकडाउन उस वक्त किया जब वायरस बहुत तेजी से फैल रहा था। भारत की सरकार ने स्टेप बाय स्टेप ग्रेडेड रिस्पांस सिस्टम के तहत धीरे धीरे बंदिशें हटा ली जब जरूरत हुई। अभी जब दुनिया में फिर से मुश्किलें दिख रही हैं, जब चाइना में बहुत बुरे हाल, और मैं फिर से कह रहा हूं कि भारत में डरने की कोई जरूरत नहीं, हमारी कोवैक्सीन बहुत अच्छी है, लेकिन सिर्फ मास्क अप कह देने से अगर किसी को लग रहा है कि ये बहुत बड़ी साजिश हो गई, सरकार लेकर आएगी, जो गवर्नमेंट अपनी इकोनॉमिक प्लानिंग कर रही है, जो गवर्नमेंट कह रही है कि हम इतने बड़े बड़े इन्वेस्टमेंट लेकर आ रहे हैं, वो गवर्नमेंट कहेगी कि न्यू ईयर पे आप पार्टी मत करिए। किस तरह का लॉजिक लेकर आ रहे हैं? और मुझे लगता है कि ये लॉजिक देश देख रहा है, उनको भी समझ में आ रहा है कि गैर जिम्मेदारी वाले बयान कितनी मुश्किल खड़ी करने वाले हैं।
इनफैक्ट द फनी थिंग इज, ऑन द वन हैंड यू आर सेइंग कि फ्लाइटें बंद करा दो, दूसरी तरफ यू आर सेइंग कि भाई हम तो मास्क भी नहीं पहनेंगे, माय चॉइस। पर आप फ्लाइट क्यों बंद करवाने की बात कर रहे हैं? कांग्रेस ने पार्लियामेंट के अंदर बोला है कि चाइना की सारी फ्लाइटें बंद करा दो। व्हाट अबाउट द चॉइस ऑफ पीपल जो कि चाइना जाना चाहते हैं? कल को कोई आदमी कहेगा मैं तो सीधा चाइना जाना चाहता हूं, मेरी न्यू ईयर पार्टी जी बीजिंग में होगी, वो न्यू ईयर की पार्टी, आप उनकी न्यू ईयर की पार्टी क्यों खराब कर रहे हैं बीजिंग में?
देखिए पद्मजा जी, अगर सरकार को यह लगता है कि देश में कोविड इमरजेंसी के हालात हैं, तुरंत लॉकडाउन लगाइए, तुरंत मॉल, बाजार,
लो
फैक्ट्रियां,
एक तरफ भावना जी मास्क पहनने को तैयार नहीं है, आप लॉकडाउन की मांग कर रहे हैं।
फ्लाइट टोटल बंद करिए, लोगों की नहीं, अगर है दिक्कत तो सब करिए
सर, ऐसे
और अगर दिक्कत नहीं है तो भारत जोड़ो यात्रा को रोकने के लिए, बदनाम करने के लिए
रोक कौन रहा है सर?
मत अपनाइए
दुष्यंत जी, कोई नहीं रोक रहा। डू यू रियलाइज दैट ऑल दैट इज बीइंग सेड? आप कृपया अपनी यात्रा कीजिए,
तो डर है,
मास्क पहन लीजिए।
जो डर फैलाया जा रहा है
सर, डर फैल कहां रहा है?
क्यों पहन ले?
आप वीडियो देखिए, आपको खुद से डर लग नहीं रहा तो फिर आप बहुत ही बड़े महामानव हैं, बट आप खुद से मास्क पहन लीजिए और थोड़ा दूर दूर खड़े हो जाइए।
सुन लीजिए देवी जी, सुन लीजिए,
बोलिए सर।
देवी जी सुन लीजिए, परसों त्रिपुरा में मोदी जी की रैली थी, वहां पे मास्क पहना क्या मास्क जरूरी था सबके लिए? मध्य प्रदेश में इन्वेस्टर समिट चल रहा है, वहां पे कोई मास्क पहन रहा है क्या? गुजरात में कार्निवल चल रहा है स्टेट का, आपके कितनी रैलियां चल रही है, राजस्थान में जन आक्रोश यात्रा चल रही है, वहां पे कोई मास्क की जरूरत नहीं है।
वो हमने सवाल उठाया, आज बंद हो गया।
मास्क की जरूरत है,
हमने सवाल उठाया, बंद हो गया। जहां तक वो कांकड़िया यात्रा है, हम उस पर भी सवाल पूछेंगे और खुद जाके रिपोर्ट भी करेंगे वहां से कि वहां हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है। त्रिपुरा की रैली का बताइए आरपी सिंह, त्रिपुरा की रैली के बाद क्यों आपको याद आया?
देखिए, प्रॉब्लम इनकी ये है कि जब सरकार कोई इनको एडवाइजरी देती है, अब कोई कट ऑफ डेट तो होती है, कोई जिस दिन तय हो गया, जिस दिन लगा भी एडवाइजर्स ने सब में बैठकर तय किया तभी बोला, और तब सबके लिए हुआ। राजस्थान की सरकार को बोला गया कि आप अपनी यहाँ चिंता करें, बीजेपी ने वहां पे खुद चिंता कर ली, आक्रोश रैली कॉल ऑफ कर ली, आप लोगों ने भी खूब टीवी पे कहा, उन्होंने खुद अपने आप कॉल ऑफ भी कर ली। परंतु इशू वापस ये नहीं है, मैं थोड़ा तब था, थोड़ा सोच में था, आई वाज लिटिल टेकन अबैक बाय व्हाट द लेडी वाज सेइंग कि हमारी मर्जी होगी। आई मीन इफ शी इज रिफ्लेक्टिंग बोथ द कांग्रेस स्पोक्स पर्सन except Dushant, if they are reflecting the party's mood, then God bless this party, because no one can save this country with this sort of political dispensation in the country. I am shocked. And I was again googling and reading what Maulana Saad said. I'm sorry I'm repeating the same, but what Maulana Saad said, हम पे अल्लाह की मेहर है, we don't need any help. We are blessed by the God. So
okay, Kamal Zaman Chaudhary wants to respond. Kamal Zaman Chaudhary speaking. Yes.
Protocol.
Okay, both Bhavna ji and Kamal Zaman Chaudhary speaking, but first you, Mr. Chaudhary. Yes.
Padmaja.
Tablighi Zaman.
Yes, Padmaja. One thing, let me just remind you. You, myself, everybody of us lost heavily during the COVID lockdown. The government was procrastinating when 12th February 2020, Rahul Gandhi with his tweet had warned the government of an impending danger and a crisis that is coming to India. The government was procrastinating.
That is fabulous.
Now on the eve of the Bharat Jodo Yatra entering Delhi, no, let me come in, I will not finish my point, 30 seconds please. Now on the eve of Bharat Jodo Yatra or entering Delhi, you know what this government has done, a blunder to the markets of India. The Sensex has dropped more than 1,000 points, wiping off market capitalization of lakhs and lakhs of people.
लगाने से Sensex
You know what is the damage that these people are doing because of their
But if you continue to not wear masks, there will be a situation where we will reach a catastrophic point.
Because the government has said,
मास्क लगाने से सेंसेक्स का क्या लेना देना है?
Destroying the sentiments of the market after the.
What does masking and sanitizing have to do with markets?
You are debating non-stop over the last 3 days. Can I explain to that? If you are so much able and to understand, Padmaja, you would not have debated with this what you call this Harshvardhan Tripathi, whom I call a chatukar.
Okay,
because
again,
he is singing.
Sir, there is no need to make personal comments. This is not that platform. Let's have a civilized debate. We have been very civilized to each other. I'm going to end it at this point because I do not take kindly to personal attacks on any of my guests, irrespective of which side they are on. Here's the thing. In a democracy, everyone has the right to their body, their health, but your rights end where my begin. So, to have a simple precautionary measure being passed off as some grand conspiracy, I fail to see the logic in it. If indeed masking is seen as a great affront on our freedoms for the collective good, let's everyone, all of us, take a bullet. I'm going to thank every guest at this point. Thank you very much, all gentlemen. Bhavna Ramanna for joining me. RJD leader Abdul Bari Siddiqui today made it public that he had advised his children to settle abroad, but it is the rationale that he gave for the seemingly harmless familial advice that has raised hackles. Calling India unlivable, he said that the country is in such a bad condition that he has now asked his children to take citizenship elsewhere. Listen in.
एक बेटा है और एक बेटी है। बेटा अभी हार्वर्ड में पढ़ रहा है, बेटी लंदन स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स से पास आउट कर चुकी है। तो जो देश का माहौल है, अब आप कहिएगा भाई आप तो खुद हो यहाँ, तो हमने कहा अपने बेटा बेटी को कि नौकरी कर लो उधर ही, अगर सिटीजनशिप भी मिले तो ले लेना। अब इंडिया में माहौल नहीं रह गया, तुम लोग झेल पाओगे या नहीं झेल पाओगे, ये बात हो सकता है। आप समझ सकते हैं कि कितनी तकलीफ से आदमी ये बात अपने बाल बच्चों को कहेगा कि अपना मातृ वतन, अपनी मातृभूमि को छोड़।
Now remember, this is a man who's been elected representative for the last 40 years, having been elected to the Bihar Assembly 7 times, and now chooses to criticize the same country. Yet his party leader Tejasvi Yadav has chosen to support him, prompting the BJP to ask, if Siddiqui and company feel so stifled, why don't they give up the privileges they enjoy?
देखिए, हमने तो सुना नहीं है क्या उन्होंने कहा है, लेकिन देश की जो स्थिति है, चाहे किसान को देख लीजिए, जवान को देख लीजिए, युवाओं को देख लीजिए, या देश की आर्थिक स्थिति देख लीजिए, या सीमा पर जहां तक अगर सुरक्षा की बात आए, अगर आर्मी ना हो, वो तो हम आर्मी के जवानों को सल्यूट करते हैं कि वो खड़े हैं, लेकिन उन जवानों का क्या? हम तो पहले भी स्थिति को कहे, जो जवान खड़ा होगा वो 4 साल बाद क्या करेगा?
आज अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भारत की पहचान बढ़ी है, पर इन तथाकथित नेताओं के कारण भारत की पहचान को धक्का लगता है। और मैं तो कहूंगा, आप वरिष्ठ नेता हैं, कम से कम इस तरह के बयान देकर भारत का अपमान मत कीजिए। और भारत की जनता पूरी तरह से सुरक्षित है। ये जो अवार्ड वापसी वाले ग्रुप है ना, ये उसी के तथाकथित लोग हैं जिनको इस देश की मिट्टी के सुगंध से मतलब नहीं है, इस मिट्टी के सम्मान से मतलब नहीं है, अपनी राजनीति रोटी सेकने के लिए लोग काम करते हैं।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
RP Singh and Harshvardhan Tripathi continue with us. We are joined by Abhishek Jha, spokesperson of the JDU, Shoaib Jamai, president of Indian Muslim Foundation. But my first question is to Abdul Basit, leader of the RJD. ऐसा क्या हो गया इंडिया में सर कि अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी साहब को इंडिया में रहने का अब मन नहीं है?
देखिए, मेरी बात को थोड़ा सा तवज्जो दीजिएगा। पूरी दुनिया में जिस जिस देश में मेजॉरिटी ने माइनॉरिटी के साथ जो भी दुर्व्यवहार करा, आज उन देशों की आप हालत देख लीजिए। ऐसा कल्चर अभी नहीं है हिंदुस्तान में कि हमें इस बात से, हमारे यहाँ जमुना गंगी तहजीब है, दोनों हम लोग बड़े आराम से प्यार से मिलकर रह रहे हैं, और ऐसा सिलसिला हजारों साल से चल रहा है। तो हाँ,
तो इस बात को अब्दुल बारी जी सिद्दीकी साहब ने जो अपना बयान के तर्ज पर ये बात दर्ज कराई है, उनकी एक टीस होगी, कोई दर्द होगा, वो उनकी बात पूरा देश इसको फॉलो नहीं करता। बाकी
इसी देश के लोगों ने उनको विधायक बना के भेजा है।
जैसे आप समझिए इराक,
तो यूके यूएस के लोगों ने तो उनको विधायक बनाया नहीं, विधायक बनाया, मंत्री बनाया, और अब वही देश खलने लगा।
वो पिछले ये हाल ही के जो सरकमस्टांसेस थे उन पे उन्होंने बात, वो तो पिछले 35 साल से विधायक बन रहे, इस बात से तो कोई आज तक तो उन्होंने इस तरह की कोई बात नहीं करी। अच्छा। ना किसी प्रकार का कोई ऐसा देश के खिलाफ कोई बात करी, और ना किसी को करनी चाहिए, ना कभी किसी को करनी चाहिए ये बात। बट मैं आपको बताऊं, कनाडा को आप लीजिए। अच्छा। कनाडा को लीजिए, उन्होंने माइनॉरिटी को आज मेजोरिटी में कन्वर्ट कर दिया, और आज वो देखिए कितना डेवलप देश है। अच्छा। इराक को लीजिए, जिसने माइनॉरिटी को खत्म किया, आज इराक की हालत देख लीजिए आप क्या है। तो माइनॉरिटी को लेके साथ चलना हमारे पूरे देश का एक जिम्मेदारी है। उसमें राजनीति हो, मीडिया,
35 साल से सब अच्छा था आरपी सिंह, हाल फिलहाल में कुछ ऐसा हो गया है कि अब एमएलए को भी रिकंसिडर करना पड़ रहा है कि अब इंडिया में रहना है कि नहीं रहना है। दिस इज जस्ट अ रीसेंट फिनोमिनन।
इस सरकार का जो सबसे पहला फैसला था सरकार बनने के बाद, वो था देश की मिनॉरिटीज के लिए वजीफा शुरू करना। 5 करोड़ बच्चों के लिए वजीफा शुरू किया इस सरकार ने, किसी और सरकार ने नहीं किया। इस सरकार में जो मेरी बहनें हैं, मुसलमान बहनें हैं, उनकी चिंता करने के लिए चिंता सरकार कर रही है, किसी सरकार ने पहले नहीं किया। मैं अभी पढ़ रहा था, बहरीन, यूएई, फलस्तीन, अफगानिस्तान, सऊदी अरेबिया और मालदीव, ये 6 के 6 मुसलमान देश हैं, और 6 के 6 देशों ने भारत की तारीफ करी और प्रधानमंत्री जी को अपने यहाँ का जो बेस्ट ऑनर होता है उससे नवाजा। तो अगर दिक्कत हो तो इनको तो समझ में आना चाहिए कि नहीं भाई भारत में, और ये अभी रिसेंट की बात है, ये मैं कोई 6 साल 8 साल पुरानी बात नहीं कर रहा। तो अगर दिक्कत होती तो ये कहते भैया हमें अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, आपके यहाँ मुसलमान ठीक नहीं रह रहे या मुसलमानों को दिक्कत है। ये जानकर एक नैरेटिव बनाने की बात है। अपने बच्चे लंदन में पढ़ेंगे, अपने बच्चे बेस्ट एजुकेशन पा रहे हैं, इसलिए पा रहे हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पर उनके माँ बाप ने चिंता करी, और यहाँ माँ बाप इस काबिल थे कि उनको पढ़ा सकते थे। दुनिया में कितने देश हैं या कितनी जगहों पर ऐसे हैं जहाँ पर मिनॉरिटीज के बच्चे जाकर पढ़ पाते होंगे बाहर विदेशों में, अच्छे अच्छे स्कूलों में जाकर। और फिर आप कहीं नहीं, मैंने उनको कह दिया कि आप भारत में मत रहिए, वहीं रहिए, यू स्टे देयर, डोंट कम बैक टू इंडिया एंड देन फाइंड आउट द सिटीजनशिप देयर।
बताइए,
जिन्होंने माइनॉरिटी को परेशान किया, ढूंढिए साहब, तो देखिए आप
इस देश के मुसलमान, मैं भी एक मिनट साहब रुकिए साहब, एक मिनट रुक जाइए साहब, एक मिनट रुक जाइए साहब, मैं भी माइनॉरिटी में से हूँ। और लीजिए सर, आप तो फिर भी 18% हैं, मैं तो 1.8% मिनॉरिटी में से हूँ। सुन लीजिए सर, आप तो 18% है, मैं तो 1.8% मिनॉरिटी में से हूँ, और बहुत
चलो ये तो आपने माना कि हम 18% है, ये तो आपने माना, गवर्नमेंट का आंकड़ा तो अभी 14.5% ही बता रहा। ये बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता ने माना कि माइनॉरिटी 18% है।
सर आरपी सिंह तो माइक्रो माइनॉरिटी है, तो एज अ माइनॉरिटी उनको तो देश ठीक ठाक लग रहा है अपने लिए।
सर हम तो,
अब्दुल बासित साहब,
तो बहुत खुश हैं। हमको तो दिखता है जब वहां पर पाकिस्तान में जो हमारी हालत हो रही है जी, हमको दिखती है। बांग्लादेश में जो हमारी हालत है, अफगानिस्तान में जो हमारी हालत है, वो दिखती है।
अभिषेक झा,
पाकिस्तान के हालात,
अभिषेक झा, मेनी पीपल विल आल्सो आस्क कि अगर देश इतना खराब है, देन मिस्टर सिद्दीकी तो हिमसेल्फ हैज बीन अ मिनिस्टर, ही शुड हैव मेड द कंट्री, ही शुड हैव एटलीस्ट मेड हिज स्टेट ऑफ सच अ नेचर कि कम से कम उनके बच्चे तो अपने स्टेट में पढ़ते हैं, उनके खुद के बच्चे तो बाहर पढ़ रहे हैं, और वो कह रहे हैं कि देश खराब है। वो तो मंत्री थे, बना लेते बिहार को अच्छा।
इट इज द लिबर्टी ऑफ एनी इंडिविजुअल कि वो अपने बच्चों को कहां पढ़ाए, कहां सुविधा दे। इट इज द कैपेसिटी ऑफ एवरी इंडिविजुअल। व्हाट अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी हैज सेड, हिज पार्टी स्पोक्सपर्सन कैन basically clarify, but what we are able to understand that ever since the BJP rose to the power in the nation, they have always tried to disturb the social harmony across the nation. They have always deviated from the basic issues of the nation, the issue of development, the issue of unemployment, the issue of high inflation. They have always
I'm very glad, sir, you mentioned basic issues, because last I remember that the RJD has been in power for at least 2 decades and so has the JDU. And since you said कि भाई development की बात होनी चाहिए, Bihar has scored the lowest in terms of infrastructure and facilities with a total 81 points out of 150 in the performance grading index for states and UTs in school education. तो जहां तक कि देश के खस्ता हालत की बात है, देश का तो मुझे पता नहीं, बट बिहार की हालत बहुत खस्ता है सर। उसमें आधे वक्त आप सत्ता में रहे हैं, आधे वक्त लालू जी सत्ता में रहे हैं, तो क्यों है देश की इतनी खस्ता हालत, खासतौर पर बिहार की?
मोहतरमा, आप इस बात को बखूबी समझती होंगी कि किसी भी प्रदेश का विकास केंद्र सरकार की तरफ से जो सहायता मिल सकती है उसका,
एजुकेशन तो आपका स्टेट सब्जेक्ट है, इतना स्कूल तो बना ही सकते थे ना कि परफॉर्मेंस इंडेक्स में खराब नहीं होते। देश तो गर्क में है, बिहार का क्या बोले?
आज बिहार की जो पिंक पोशाक योजना है, साइकिल योजना है, मिड डे मील है, उसको देश के अन्य प्रदेशों ने स्वीकारा है।
मैं ही तो आई एम गिविंग यू द डेटा। दिस इज अबाउट अ स्टडी, डेटा फ्रॉम अ स्टडी अबाउट हाउ बिहार हैज फेयर्ड। लेट मी आल्सो रिमाइंड यू दैट व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट really bad situation, we are talking about a state which has just seen about 100 people die because of illegal hooch, sir। आपके स्टेट में पुलिस वाले पिट रहे हैं शराब माफिया से, और आप कह रहे हैं कि देश गर्क में जा रहा है।
Padmaja, we are not trying to run away from our responsibilities, but the states in which there is no liquor ban, there are more deaths from the hooch tragedy.
But sir, the point is,
we are not running away from the responsibility.
A leader of the RJD, a former minister of the RJD, a former MLA of the RJD is saying that this country is unlivable, who is blissfully oblivious, Harshvardhan Tripathi, to how unlivable his own party has made his own state. भाई देश को आप कह रहे हैं कि देश घटिया है, अपने स्टेट की क्या हालत की है वो आपको दिख नहीं रही है। बच्चे आपके लंदन और यूएस में हैं, कह रहे हैं भैया देश घटिया है, और स्टेट तो उसमें आपके चांद लगे हुए हैं।
पक्षपातपूर्ण रवैया ही अख्तियार किया गया, हमारा स्टेट ग्रो नहीं कर पा रहा है, इसलिए हम इतने वर्षों से विशेष राज्य का दर्जा मांग रहे हैं। विशेष राज्य का दर्जा तो केंद्र की सरकार ने दिया नहीं।
Okay. All right. Let Harshvardhan Tripathi respond. Harshvardhan Tripathi.
Minorities, what do they feel? How BJP has disturbed the social harmony?
पद्मजा, मुझे लगता है कि हर किसी ने गली क्रिकेट देखा जरूर होगा, खेला भले न हो। तो उसमें एक बच्चा होता है जो बैट लेकर आता है, और जब वो आउट हो जाता है, जब उसको खेलने को नहीं मिलता तो बल्ला लेता है और कहता है क्रिकेट अब नहीं कोई खेलेगा, अब मैं जा रहा हूं, अब खेल खत्म, खेल बेकार हो रहा है। ये ऐसे लोगों का एक समूह है जो इस देश में लोकतंत्र की आड़ में बरसों बरस सत्ता में रहा, और किस किस तरह से सत्ता रहा। बिहार में बूथ लूटे जाते रहे, जंगल राज रहा। उसी जंगल राज के खिलाफ सुशासन बाबू का टैग मिला था पहले 5 साल में नीतीश कुमार को, और यही अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी जैसे नेता लालू प्रसाद जी के साथ थे। तभी बिहार में यह दुर्दशा हुई कि कोई बच्चा वहां नहीं पढ़ पाता था, विधायक मंत्री के बच्चे को भी बाहर ही जाना पड़ता था। निश्चित तौर पर यह विशेषाधिकार है, कोई मां बाप अपने बच्चों को कहां पढ़ाएं, लेकिन बिहार के मां बाप को वो विशेषाधिकार नहीं था, उनकी मजबूरी थी। पद्मजा, बिहार में जो रहा वो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता था, गुंडा बदमाश बने, लड़ाई लड़े, झगड़ा करे। आज बिहार में वो स्थिति नहीं है, और इसके लिए कम से कम नीतीश कुमार और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के शासन की प्रशंसा की जानी चाहिए। और आज जो वो कह रहे हैं, वो 2013 से जो सिंड्रोम इस देश में शुरू हुआ कि भैया हम तो रहेंगे ही नहीं देश में, चले जाएंगे, गए नहीं कोई, सब पड़े हैं यहीं पड़े हैं, यहीं कोशिश कर रहे हैं, यही जहर फैलाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन बार बार कह रहे हैं कि हम चले जाएंगे। आमिर खान भी कह रहे थे ना कि उनकी पत्नी को बड़ा डर लग रहा है, अब पता नहीं पति पत्नी कहां क्या है, क्या कह रहे हैं।
एक बहुत मशहूर शायर भी है उत्तर प्रदेश में, उन्होंने तो कसम खाई थी,
और बहुत बड़ी जमात है वो, बहुत शायर, पत्रकार, साहित्यकार, बुद्धिजीवी, बड़े बड़े नेता सब यही हैं। उनको पता है कि दुनिया में भारत से अच्छी भूमि कोई है ही नहीं। माइनॉरिटी मेजॉरिटी का टंटा इन्हीं लोगों ने खड़ा किया हुआ है। वरना यहाँ इस देश में सबको समान अधिकार है। उसमें भी ये कोशिश करते हैं कि जब ये समान अधिकार ना हो, प्रिविलेज कर दो किसी को। तो ये राजनीति करने वाले लोग फंस गए हैं। लोकतांत्रिक तौर पर ये खारिज हो रहे हैं, इनको सत्ता नहीं मिलती। शायद अभी चुनाव हार गए अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी, 2019 का लोकसभा तो हारे थे। तो ये जब हार जाते हैं तो कष्ट होता है इनको, परेशान है, इनको चले जाना चाहिए जहां और रास्ता मिले।
शोएब जमाई, सत्ता नहीं मिली तो सब घटिया लगने लगा।
Padmaja, I would say it's a very hard time for minorities, especially Muslims in India. But I have a full faith in the democracy and our country. ये बात हिंदू मुसलमान का नहीं है, ये बात अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी की नहीं है। कोई अपने बच्चे को कहाँ पढ़ाना चाहता है, वो कहाँ नौकरी कर ले, ये चिंताएं सब भारत में माँ बाप को हैं। लेकिन स्टैनली ग्लोबल की एक रिपोर्ट भी है जिसमें यह कहा गया कि 2022 के अंदर ही 8,000 हाई इनकम नेट इंडिविजुअल ने भारत छोड़ दिया और वो यहाँ की सिटीजनशिप त्याग दिए। पिछले 3 सालों में लगभग 6.5 लाख लोगों ने भारत की नागरिकता त्याग दी। अब उनके अनेक कारण हो सकते हैं। बहुत सारे माँ बाप ये समझ रहे कि हमारे बच्चे जो बाहर पढ़ रहे हैं उनको भारत में अब अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल नहीं रही क्योंकि नौकरियां तो है नहीं। तो ये खामखा इसको हिंदू मुस्लिम का एंगल देना ये बहुत नेफेरियस एक इंटेंशन है। मुझे लगता है ये भारत की बेरोजगारी से जुड़ा हुआ है, ये उस स्थिति से जुड़ा हुआ है जहां पे युवा अपने आप को जो है ना इनसिक्योर महसूस कर रहा है एंड द यूथ फील्स इनसिक्योर अबाउट देयर करियर। अबाउट दैट, ये हिंदू मुस्लिम का इशू नहीं है। दो faith in Indian democracy. I have a full faith in my country. I came back from United States of America after my postdoctoral research. So I'm working in India. I'm very happy to be here.
हर्षवर्धन त्रिपाठी,
मेरा बच्चा यहीं पर है। पहले तो मैं शोएब जामेई की मैं प्रशंसा करूं, आज मैं तारीफ करूं। शोएब जामेई जिस बात के लिए जाने जाते हैं कि किसी भी बात में हिंदू मुसलमान ले आते हैं, आज बड़ी अच्छी बात की इन्होंने। तो पहले तो आपका शुक्रिया शोएब भाई। अब दूसरी बात यह कि ये हिंदू मुसलमान न तो पद्मजा ने किया न मैंने किया। हमारी बात में कहीं आप हिंदू मुसलमान अगर खोज के लाइए तो बता दीजिएगा, फिर से रिकॉर्डिंग सुनिएगा। ये किसने किया? ये जो राष्ट्रीय जनता दल के प्रवक्ता बैठे हुए हैं उन्होंने ये माइनॉरिटी मेजॉरिटी की डिबेट शुरू की। और इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूं कि कूड़ा जिसके दिमाग में भरा हुआ है, जिसके दिमाग में जहर भरा हुआ है, वो इस तरह की डिबेट करेगा। वरना तो ये सही बात है, अगर वो कह रहे थे हम में से किसी ने हिंदू मुसलमान नहीं किया, करना भी नहीं चाहिए। अब जहां तक रही बात आपकी कि लोग
और खुद सिद्दीकी साहब ने बोला कि माहौल ऐसा हो गया है, उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा कि यहाँ नौकरियां नहीं मिल रही, उन्होंने बोला माहौल ऐसा हो गया है।
माहौल ऐसा हो गया। और जिस नौकरी और माहौल की बात करें तो जानकारी के लिए शोएब भाई थोड़ा रिपोर्ट दूसरी भी पढ़ा कीजिए। ये हमेशा से जो हाई नेटवर्क लोग हैं वो जाते रहे हैं, लेकिन एक दूसरी बात भी है, दुनिया की बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां और उनके सीईओज ऑफ इंडिया में रहना चाहते हैं। अब एक सेकेंड जनरेशन है जो वापस आ रही है। तो मुझे लगता है कि जो अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी कह रहे हैं और जो आप कह रहे हैं उसके बीच में भयानक डिफरेंस
बड़ा है। आखिरकार क्या ऐसी स्थिति है कि ये आंकड़ा बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गया रिसेंट टाइम में? कोई तो वजह होगी, इससे इंट्रोस्पेक्शन करने की जरूरत है। हम नहीं लड़ेंगे, हम भी यहीं रहेंगे, हर्षवर्धन जी भी यहीं रहेंगे और हम यहीं पर योगदान देंगे।
लेकिन अभी छोड़िए ना, अभी अब्दुल बारी साहब वाले बात कीजिए।
तो करना चाहिए ना दोस्त।
रहेंगे तो सब यहाँ पे, एंड एक्चुअली आज हर्षवर्धन त्रिपाठी सेड रहेंगे तो अब्दुल बारी सिद्दीकी साहब भी यहीं पर उनको क्योंकि राजनीति तो यही करनी है। ऐसा तो नहीं है वो चले जाएंगे यूके यूएस, वहां थोड़ी ना मिल पाएगी उनको सत्ता, वहां थोड़ी ना बनेंगे एमएलए। That is the more important thing. Anyhow, thanks very much, gentlemen. I think at least it's good that we all agree on one thing, that you may have your differences, but on the issue of which is a great place to live, right now, most people would agree, is India. Thanks for watching.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
Let's get it started, yeah, you know it's game time. Ain't no excuses tolerated while you can't grind. It's like you're on the job, you know that team.
Hello everyone, ये है बजाज की नई पल्सर P115 केस। You're wondering 150 ऑलरेडी मौजूद है तो इस P वर्जन को लाने का कारण क्या है, मतलब क्या है? सो कारण बहुत सारे हैं, डिजाइन को लेकर, फीचर्स को लेकर और कुछ हद तक परफॉर्मेंस को लेकर भी इस P वर्जन में बदलाव देखने को मिलते हैं। तो क्या है वो सारे बदलाव इस नई पल्सर P150 में, उन सभी के बारे में मैं आपसे बात करने वाला हूं इस रिव्यू के अंदर। और रिव्यू के एंड में बात करेंगे 3 धांसू और 3 नॉट धांसू एलिमेंट्स मुझे क्या लगते हैं इस बजाज पल्सर P150 के बारे में।
You're watching the News Hour at 10.
Shraddha Walkar murder accused Aftab Poonawala today withdrew his bail application before a Delhi court. His lawyer told the court that the previous plea was moved because of a miscommunication. The Maharashtra government has announced a probe by an SIT into the death of talent manager Disha Salyan. Over 25 lakh Panchamshali Lingayats took out a massive rally in Belagavi, Karnataka today. The community is seeking a larger share of reservation quota for the OBCs. They later called off the protest after assurances from the Chief Minister. Actor Jacqueline Fernandez appeared before Patiala House Court in Delhi today in relation to a money laundering case. She decided to withdraw the plea to travel abroad, which she had earlier filed. Former Delhi Prisons Chief Sandeep Goyal has been suspended by Home Ministry on extortion claims by con man Sukesh Chandrasekhar.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
इनकेस आप मिलेनियन वाली जनरेशन से हैं तो आपने शायद वो गाना सुना होगा, देखा जो तुझे यार दिल में बजी गिटार। सो कुछ ऐसे अगर आप मूड में हैं तो यहाँ पे ये गिटार की स्ट्रिंग्स टाइप दी गई हैं, एग्जैक्टली स्ट्रिंग्स नहीं है बट।
You're watching the News Hour at 10.
Bombay High Court has given relief to Chief Minister of Maharashtra Eknath Shinde in NIT plots case. On December 16, the Urban Development Department had cancelled order to transfer land to a private person and made the land available for slum dwellers. While inaugurating a mega Christmas event in Kolkata, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said that her state is one where people are not divided based on their religious identity. Delhi police have refuted any claims of trespassing or vandalism on the premises of Bawa Colony in Burari amidst conversion claims. The complaint was received by police on December 11. Delhi police have questioned Flipkart officials in relation to Dwarka acid attack case. The accused in this case had procured acid used for attacking a young girl online. ED has provisionally attached 45 acres of land in Coimbatore purchased in the name of a Benami company belonging to A. Raja. The land was allegedly purchased using bribe money.
The smartphone category in India is anyway popular, right? उसमें भी जो 20 से 25 हजार वाले स्मार्टफोन्स हैं वो और भी ज्यादा पॉपुलर हैं। शायद इसीलिए Infinix ने आज अपना 020 स्मार्टफोन लॉन्च कर दिया है। I have the smartphone with me right here और इसको आज करेंगे अनबॉक्सिंग। Hi, you're watching Gadget Time. This is me Padmaja and it's time for me to unbox this device और देखते हैं फोन में आपको क्या-क्या कंटेंट्स दिखाई देंगे। Let's begin. हो चुका है। जैसे कि आपने देखा यहाँ पर स्टिकर उतारते हुए मैंने ऐसे थोड़ा सा गंद मचा दी। यहाँ पे स्टिकर ऑलरेडी दिखाई दे रहा है, बट इसको क्लीन करेंगे बाद में। अभी बात करेंगे स्मार्टफोन के बारे में। थोड़ा सा मुझे विड्थ इसका ज्यादा लग रहा है, वो यूज करने के बाद पता चलेगा कि ये कितना कंफर्टेबल है। अदर देन दैट यू गेट 3 कैमराज एट द बैक। इसको आपको मिलेगा स्क्वायरिश कैमरा मॉड्यूल के अंदर। द मेन कैमरा इज 108 मेगापिक्सल और यही इसका यूएसपी है। सिर्फ बैक कैमरास की बात नहीं है बॉस, आपको फ्रंट कैमरा भी बहुत ही धांसू दिखाई दे रहा है, एटलीस्ट ऑन द स्पेक शीट। यूज करने पे पता चलेगा कि कितना अच्छा है या नहीं अच्छा है। फ्रंट कैमरा जो इसका है वो आपको मिलता है 60 मेगापिक्सल का फ्रंट शूटर। आपको इसमें दिखाई देगा फुल HD प्लस एमोलेड पैनल। बेजल्स थोड़े से मुझे मोटे दिखाई दे रहे हैं, टॉप और बॉटम वाला स्पेशली। साइड बेजल्स आर स्टिल स्लिम। व्हाट कीप्स दिस स्मार्टफोन अलाइव इज Helio G99 चिपसेट। बैटरी की बात करें तो इसमें आपको मिलता है 45 वॉट का फास्ट चार्जिंग सिस्टम, विच इज प्रिटी गुड। एट द बॉटम यू ऑल्सो गेट अ 3.5 mm हेडफोन जैक एंड दैट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि आजकल के फोन में ये आपको बिल्कुल दिखाई नहीं देता है। सो यू डू नॉट हैव टू जस्ट रिलाई ऑन योर वायरलेस ईयरबड्स, आप यहाँ पर अपने वायर्ड हेडफोन्स का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। स्पीकर के साथ आपको मिलता है Type-C पोर्ट, ऊपर की तरफ माइक्रोफोन है, राइट साइड पे आपको मिलता है वॉल्यूम रॉकर और साथ में पावर बटन। लेफ्ट साइड इज प्रीटी क्लीन, लेकिन यहाँ पे आपको मिलता है सिम ट्रे और सिम इंजेक्टर टूल बॉक्स में आपको मिलता है, वो मैं दिखा चुकी हूँ। यहीं पर सिम ट्रे की बात करते करते मेरी नजर गई है फ्रेम पर, विच इज प्रिटी ग्लॉसी। मेटल तो नहीं है, लेकिन ऐसा फील जरूर दे रहा है दैट इट्स मेटल। बाकी ये था मेरा ओवरऑल लुक एट द स्मार्टफोन। अगर आप जानना चाहते हैं कि क्या आपको ये खरीदना चाहिए एट अराउंड ₹20,000-25,000, क्या ये अच्छा ऑप्शन है या नहीं, उसके लिए यू रियली नीड टू स्टे ट्यून्ड टू गैजेट टाइम्स टू फाइंड आउट इट्स फुल रिव्यू। नाउ यू गाइस नो द ड्रिल, लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब एंड जस्ट स्टे ट्यून्ड टू गैजेट टाइम्स। थैंक्स फॉर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो।
You clever, make you beg for more. You want it, and you can take me to the moon. Yeah, I'd like to see you try. I'd like to see you try. Get my hands on you. You're gonna turn black, you're gonna turn blue. Oh, some real bad news. It's not me, it's you.
हेलो एवरीवन, मैं खड़ा हूँ ऑल न्यू BMW M345 X ड्राइव के बगल में और ये यहाँ पर BMW ने फाइनली इंडिया में लॉन्च कर दी है। क्या डिटेल्स हैं इसके डिजाइन, इसके एक्सटीरियर, इसके इंटीरियर को लेकर क्या फीचर्स दिए गए हैं, परफॉर्मेंस के आंकड़े क्या है, सभी के बारे में मैं आपसे बात करने वाला हूँ इस वीडियो में। तो डिजाइन की बात करें इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सटीरियर, तो फ्रंट में वही स्पोर्टी डिजाइन लैंग्वेज इस M340i में देखने को मिल रही है। ग्रिल में किडनी ग्रिल यहाँ देखने को मिल रहा है विद ग्लॉस बैक एलिमेंट्स एंड LED हेडलाइट्स हैं विद ब्लू एक्सेंट्स यहाँ पे देखने को मिल रहे हैं इसकी हेडलाइट्स में। इसके अलावा बम्पर में जो है वो भी ग्लॉसी ब्लैक का इस्तेमाल करा गया है एंड एयर इनटेक्स भी यहाँ पर देखने को मिल रहे हैं विच गोज बिहाइंड, जो व्हील की तरफ जाते हुए देखते हैं एंड BMW LED की बैजिंग यहाँ देखने को मिल रही है। इसके अलावा बात करें व्हील्स की, तो व्हील्स जो इसमें दिए गए हैं वो हैं 19 इंच के और 225 सेक्शन के व्हील इसमें फ्रंट पे दिए गए हैं एंड M स्पोर्ट की बैजिंग यहाँ पर इसके व्हील्स में देखने को मिल रही है। M स्पोर्ट ब्रेक्स यहाँ पर देखने को मिल रही है एंड M स्पोर्ट की बैजिंग यहाँ दी गई है। एंड इन केस आपकी नजर यहाँ जाएगी तो देखेंगे साइड मिरर्स का डिजाइन किस तरह से स्पोर्टी और एरोडायनामिक बनाने के लिए कुछ इस तरह से यहाँ पे इसमें दिया गया है। देन वही M स्पोर्ट वाला डिजाइन लैंग्वेज, स्पोर्ट कार वाली फील, सेडान वाली फील यहाँ पर साइड प्रोफाइल से इसके देखने को मिल रही है। रियर में आए, रियर में जो टायर दिया गया है उसका साइज अलग है, 19 इंच का है और 255 सेक्शन का टायर रियर में इसमें देखने को मिल रहा है एंड सेम अगेन M स्पोर्ट ब्रेक्स एंड M स्पोर्ट की बैजिंग इसके अलॉयज में यहाँ देखने को मिल रही है। रियर की तरफ आए तो M340i की बैजिंग, टेल लाइट्स, LED टेल लाइट्स यहाँ देखने को मिल रही है, BMW लोगो है एंड यहाँ पे देखेंगे यहाँ पर भी ग्लॉसी ब्लैक एलिमेंट का इस्तेमाल करा गया है एंड जो इसका टिप है एग्जॉस्ट टेल का वो भी ब्लैक में पेंटेड यहाँ देखने को मिल रहा है। सो ओवरऑल काफी कूल, काफी स्पोर्टी इन टर्म्स ऑफ एक्सटीरियर देखने को मिल रही है ये नई BMW की M340i। चलते हैं अंदर, अंदर क्या फीचर्स हैं, क्या मामला है इन टर्म्स ऑफ M, लेट्स गो एंड चेक दैट आउट। इंटीरियर की बात करें तो यहाँ पर कुछ कार्बन फाइबर एलिमेंट्स, ऑफ कोर्स स्पोर्टी डिजाइन, शार्प फील यहाँ पे अंदर भी इसमें बैठने के बाद आ रही है इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइन यहाँ देखने को मिल रहा है, कार्बन फाइबर एलिमेंट थोड़ा बहुत डैशबोर्ड में यहाँ पे इसके यूज करा गया है। एंड यहाँ पे भी सेंटर कंसोल में कार्बन फाइबर एलिमेंट यूज करा गया है। 8 स्पीड का स्टेप्टोनिक ट्रांसमिशन इसमें दिया गया है। एंड यहाँ पर जो स्क्रीन दिया गया है सिंगल स्क्रीन है, जो कि इंफोटेनमेंट स्क्रीन और इंस्ट्रूमेंट क्लस्टर में डिवाइड होता है। जो इंफोटेनमेंट स्क्रीन है, टच स्क्रीन है, 14.9 इंच का ये स्क्रीन यहाँ पे देखने को मिल रहा है। एंड एज यू कैन सी रिस्पॉन्सिव काफी ये अभी फिलहाल महसूस हो रहा है। एंड यहाँ पे आए तो इसका ये 12.3 इंच का इंस्ट्रूमेंट क्लस्टर देखने को मिल रहा है। और एम स्पोर्ट वाली बैजिंग यहाँ पर इसके स्टीयरिंग में दी गई है, एम स्पोर्ट स्टीयरिंग है इसका। एंड लेफ्ट साइड में तो क्रूज कंट्रोल के बटन है, राइट साइड में जो इसका इंफोटेनमेंट सिस्टम है उसको कंट्रोल करने के बटन इसके राइट साइड में दिए हैं। वॉइस कमांड इज ऑल्सो देयर। एंड ओवरऑल सीट का जो फील है वो भी एम स्पोर्ट वाला है, यहाँ देख सकते हैं पूरा एम स्पोर्ट वाला बीडिंग यहाँ पे देखने को मिल रहा है। एंड सीट्स का स्टाइल भी ओवरऑल स्पोर्टी है, डार्क कॉम्बिनेशन के साथ ही सीट मिल रही है। आई थिंक और कस्टमाइजेशन के ऑप्शंस होंगे इन टर्म्स ऑफ सीट्स आल्सो, बट
Let's get it started, yeah, you know it's game time. Ain't no excuses tolerated while you can't grind. It's like you're on the job, you know that team.
हेलो एवरीवन, ये है बजाज की नई पल्सर P150। इन केस यू वंडरिंग 150 ऑलरेडी मौजूद है, तो इस P वर्जन को लाने का कारण क्या है, मतलब क्या है? सो कारण बहुत सारे हैं, डिजाइन को लेकर, फीचर्स को लेकर और कुछ हद तक परफॉर्मेंस को लेकर भी इस P वर्जन में बदलाव देखने को मिलते हैं। तो क्या है वो सारे बदलाव इस नई पल्सर P150 में, उन सभी के बारे में मैं आपसे बात करने वाला हूं इस रिव्यू के अंदर। और रिव्यू के एंड में बात करेंगे 3 धांसू और 3 नॉर्थ धांसू एलिमेंट्स मुझे क्या लगते हैं इस बजाज पल्सर P150 के बारे में। अब डिजाइन की बात करें तो यहाँ पर जो नयापन देखने को मिल रहा है, स्पेशली ओवरऑल 150 जो पल्सर है उसके मुकाबले इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइन पूरी आपको ये P150 देखने को मिलेगी। लेकिन आपको ओवरऑल जो एसेंस है डिजाइन का वो इसमें N160 वाला देखने को मिलने वाला है। फ्रंट हालांकि अलग है यहाँ पे, लेकिन अब इसमें P150 में प्रोजेक्टर हेडलैम्प्स दिए गए हैं एंड इसमें DRLs भी यहाँ पर इसमें देखने को मिलते हैं। अग्रेसिव, स्पोर्टी एंड शार्प एलिमेंट्स इसके डिजाइन में यहाँ पर देखने को मिल रहे हैं। एंड साइड प्रोफाइल जो ओवरऑल है वो आपको N160 वाला ही।
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News Now Overnight with me, Priya Behel. In a few moments from now, we will get you sensational details emerging out of Kanhaiya Lal's murder, the man who was slaughtered, videotaped by 2 men in Rajasthan. NIA has now filed a charge sheet and there are some spine-chilling details that are emerging from that charge sheet. We'll get you all of that in just a bit. First up, the top 50 stories that made headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed the situation related to COVID-19 in the country at a high-level meeting today. While asking others to exercise caution, Prime Minister, led by example, was seen attending winter session of the Parliament while wearing a mask. However, no COVID-appropriate norms were seen being observed at Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, despite a cautionary letter being sent by the Health Ministry just yesterday. Expert panels approve nasal vaccination for COVID-19 in India. This will act as a great boost to India's vaccination drive. After Chief Minister Shinde's order to probe BMC's COVID projects, the latter has sent a notice to the CAG saying that the audit is not under its purview. Addressing the issue of rising COVID cases, the Union Home Health Minister said that we will keep an eye on global COVID situation and take steps accordingly. He also advised states to increase genome sequencing. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has also held a review meeting on COVID-19 situation in his state. He requested people to follow the masking norms. Following a word of caution from Union Health Ministry, many schools in Hyderabad have decided to bring back mandatory mask rules. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde chaired a review meeting for COVID situation and preparedness in the state prior to state cabinet meeting. Amidst global rise in COVID infections, India has recorded 185 new cases of COVID and one related fatality in the last 24 hours. The World Health Organization has called out China for not helping identify the origin of COVID. WHO said it is hampering the treatment of patients suffering from long-term effects. In a setback to Robert Vadra, Rajasthan High Court today rejected his petition seeking a stay on his custodial interrogation. In fact, they have stayed his plea. They have allowed his custodial interrogation to be stayed for 2 weeks, but they have quashed his plea seeking a copy of ACR filed by the ED. Defending Robert Vadra, several Congress leaders claimed that agencies were being misused for vendetta. BJP has slammed Robert Vadra over the claims of his unusual profits. After hurling Neech and Ravan abuses at the Prime Minister, Trinamool Congress leader Kirti Azad posted PM Modi's image with slanderous remarks. The tweet was later deleted following massive backlash. Slamming the post, BJP questioned Mamata Banerjee's stand and asked her if she agreed with her party leader. A political storm erupted over the inclusion of verses of Bhagavad Gita in the NCERT syllabus. Opposition slammed the move, calling it saffronization. Opposition parties' floor leaders met in Rajya Sabha Mallikarjun Kharge's chambers to discuss strategy. Unanimous decision was taken to raise the border issue with China in the House. In the Bangalore blast case, CBI has alleged non-cooperation on behalf of CID. CBI alleged inquest and that the post-mortem report were not given to them. Centre will provide national capital 700 crore rupees for construction, repair and beautification of roads in Delhi. Shraddha Balkar murder case accused Aftab Poonawalla today withdrew his bail application before a Delhi court. His lawyer told the court that it was an outcome of a miscommunication. Delhi police have moved an application before Saket court seeking permission to collect voice sample of Aftab Poonawalla. Maharashtra government has announced a probe by an SIT into the death of talent manager Disha Salian. Supporting the SIT probe, BJP MLA Nitesh Rane said the truth about Disha Salian case should be revealed. He demanded a narco test of Shiv Sena MLA Aditya Thackeray. In a controversial remark, RJD leader and former minister Abdul Bari Siddiqui said he does not find India's environment suitable for living. Over 25 lakh Panchanam Sali Lingayats took out a massive rally in Belagavi. The community is seeking a larger share of reservation quota for OBCs. Massive police deployment made at Hire Bagewadi in Karnataka due to Panchanam Sali Padyatra. Gujarat High Court issued a notice to the Oreva Group and directed the state government to submit report of Morbi Bridge collapse. Actor Jacqueline Fernandez today was at Patiala House Court in relation to money laundering case. She later withdrew a plea that she had filed for travelling. Former Delhi Prisons Chief Sandeep Goyal has been suspended by Home Ministry on extortion claims by con man Sukesh Chandrasekhar. Congress Party's Bharat Jodo Yatra today resumed from Malab village in Haryana. COVID norms were flouted. Bombay High Court has given relief to Chief Minister Eknath Shinde in NIT plots case. On December 16, Urban Development Department cancelled the order to transfer land to a private person and made the land available for slum dwellers. Women and Child Development Minister Mangal Prabhat Lodha has announced that 20% of space in public parkings in Maharashtra would be reserved for vehicles with women drivers. Chief Minister of Bengal Mamata Banerjee inaugurated a mega event at Allen Park related to Christmas. She said that West Bengal is a state where people are not discriminated against based on their religious identity. Delhi police have refuted any claims of trespassing or vandalism on the premise of Baba Colony in Burari amidst conversion claims. Accused turned approver in Shira Bora murder case, prime accused Indrani Mukherjee's driver Shyamvar Rai to walk out of jail as soon as Bandra Magistrate Court grants him bail. Delhi police questions Flipkart officials on 21 December in relation to Dwarka acid attack case. Remember, the accused has procured acid online. ED has provisionally attached 45 acres of land in Coimbatore purchased in the name of a Benami company of A. Raja. The land was allegedly purchased using bribe money. Sanitation workers staged a protest at Vijayawada APCRDA offices for not getting wages on time. Bajrang Dal has submitted a memorandum to Bengaluru Commissioner demanding Muslim youth not be allowed in pubs and clubs in the city as they are involved in love and drug trade. US President Joe Biden has welcomed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House on his first foreign visit that is known in public since the beginning of Ukraine-Russia conflict. US President Joe Biden renewed assurances of his country's support to Ukraine in the ongoing military conflict with Russia. Addressing a meeting in the US, Ukrainian president said that support provided to Ukraine is not charity. He said that it is an investment in the global security. Niagara Falls in Canada plunged into darkness at night in support of Ukraine. The falls went dark as part of a global fundraiser aiming to raise money to help buy generators for hospitals across Ukraine. Speaking about the university ban on Afghan women, UK PM Rishi Sunak said that the women of Afghanistan have so much to offer. Denying them access to university education is a grave, regressive step. Nepalese Supreme Court has ordered the release of French serial killer Charles Shobraj after 19 years in prison. The United Nations Security Council resolution has urged Myanmar's military junta to immediately release all arbitrarily detained prisoners, including Aung San Suu Kyi and ex-president Win Myint. Ramiz Raza has been removed from the post of chairman of Pakistan Cricket Board. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif nominated a 13-member committee to take the Pakistan cricket forward. Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh Pranay Verma hosted the touring Indian cricket team at India House in Dhaka, described the cricketing links between India and Bangladesh as a special part of bilateral relationship between the two countries. The song Natu Natu from the blockbuster Telugu film RRR has been shortlisted for 2023 Oscar Awards in the Best Original Song category. Major development coming in the Kanhaiya Lal murder case. NIA has filed a charge sheet in the case. Several details emerging from this particular charge sheet that are obvious parallels to similar charge sheet filed in Umesh Kolhe murder case last week. Priyank now joins me for more details. Priyank, what are the highlights in this charge sheet? Priyank, can you hear me?
Yes, Priya. This is important development which is happening in this case, that NIA has finally named those two accused who are based in Pakistan and who are the one who had given this clear indications to the... Priya, can you hear me?
Yes, Priyank.
Yes, the National Investigating Agency, which took over the investigation from the Rajasthan police, has named these two Pakistan-based handlers, Salman Bhai and one more, in the involvement of giving instructions to these accused, Muhammad Ghaus and Atari, that they should carry out some kind of attack after the speeches which were given by Nupur Sharma. Then they targeted Kanhaiya Lal and he was brutally murdered. They have 11 accused, Priya, who have been named in this particular murder, after which they also used the social media platform to send the video of the brutal killing across the world so that they should be scared. In the investigation, it was clearly seen that these two accused who are based in Pakistan had told these Ghaus and Atari to go out and kill someone so that the message should be given loud and clear to those people who have been talking against Prophet Muhammad. In the meanwhile, what we have seen that the NIA has also spoken in detail, this is what we are getting to the sources, regarding the modus operandi which was used by them on the instructions of their park handlers.
Right. What more do we know about the park handlers in this case? Because a lot of people had been pinning this as an action-reaction kind of case, but it looks like it was a more deliberate plot in order to create panic and sow seeds of division amongst communities.
Yes, these park handlers, Priya, had told the Nihalal killer that the message should be given loud and clear to the world because of the kind of issues which has come up after the speech which was given by Nupur Sharma. The NEA has named these two accused, Salman, who is a resident of Karachi, and Abu Ibrahim, who is also from Karachi. As we know that the FIR was over by the National Investigating Agency, and they had also added sections of UAPA. Section 16, 18, 20 of UAPA were also added in this case. We know that Arms Act was one of the factors for which they had started the investigation. What we also got to know that the investigation has revealed that the accused person's operation as a terror gang module conspired to take the revenge of the statement which was given. The accused were also radicalized, and they took inspiration from incriminating videos and audios which were already there on the social media platform, and then they also sent the video of killing of Kanhaiya Lal on social media. The accused had also arranged a deadly knife, which was a dagger kind of knife, which was made in a factory where the Mohammed Ghaus used to work. And after murder of Kanhaiya Lal, the reaction was also sent on Facebook and to all the co-workers. They made a video, and killing of the video was also released and made viral, so that this also they also shot another video to threaten people. So there were several factors which was taken into account, on which the National Investigating Agency has named 9 accused who are Indian and 2 of them who are Pakistani.
Right. Thank you, Priyank, for joining us with those late night details. It was a deliberate attempt to not just kill one person but send a larger message to others as well in this case, just like it was in Umesh Kolhe's murder case, details of which we had also brought to you earlier. We move on to another story, and a senior RJD leader, Abdul Bari Siddiqui, today made it public that he had advised his children to settle abroad. But it is the rationale that he gave for the seemingly harmless familial advice that has raised hackles, calling India unlivable. He said that the country is in such dire condition that he has asked his children to take citizenship elsewhere.
मेरा एक बेटा है और एक बेटी है। बेटा अभी हार्वर्ड में पढ़ रहा है, बेटी लंदन स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स से पास आउट कर चुकी है। तो जो देश का माहौल है, अब आप कहिएगा भाई आप तो खुद हो यहाँ, तो हमने कहा अपने बेटा बेटी को कि नौकरी कर लो उधर ही, अगर सिटीजनशिप भी मिले तो ले लेना। अब इंडिया में माहौल नहीं रह गया, तुम लोग झेल पाओगे या नहीं झेल पाओगे, ये बात हो सकता है आप समझ सकते हैं कि कितनी तकलीफ से आदमी ये बात अपने बाल बच्चों को कहेगा कि अपना मातृ वतन, अपनी मातृभूमि को छोड़ दो।
This, remember, is a man who's been elected representative for the last 40 years, having been elected to the Bihar State Assembly 7 times. He's also been a minister and has enjoyed all the privileges that come with those positions, but now chooses to criticize the very same country, the very same people. Yet his party leader, Tejasvi Yadav, has chosen to support him, prompting the BJP to ask if Siddiqui and company feel so stifled, why don't they give up their privileges?
देखिए, हमने तो सुना नहीं है क्या उन्होंने कहा है, लेकिन देश की जो स्थिति है, चाहे किसान को देख लीजिए, जवान को देख लीजिए, युवाओं को देख लीजिए, या देश की आर्थिक स्थिति देख लीजिए, या सीमा पर जहां तक अगर सुरक्षा की बात आए, अगर आर्मी ना हो, वो तो हम आर्मी के जवानों को सैल्यूट करते हैं कि वो खड़े हैं, लेकिन उन जवानों का क्या? हम तो पहले भी स्थिति को कहे, जो जवान खड़ा होगा वो 4 साल बाद क्या करेगा?
आज अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भारत की पहचान बढ़ी है, पर इन तथाकथित नेताओं के कारण भारत की पहचान को धक्का लगता है। और मैं तो कहूँगा आप वरिष्ठ नेता हैं, कम से कम इस तरह के बयान देकर भारत का अपमान मत कीजिए। और भारत की जनता पूरी तरह से सुरक्षित है। ये जो अवार्ड वापसी वाले ग्रुप है ना, ये उसी के तथाकथित लोग हैं जिनको इस देश की मिट्टी के सुगंध से मतलब नहीं है, इस मिट्टी के सम्मान से मतलब नहीं है, अपनी राजनीति रोटी सेकने के लिए लोग काम करते हैं।
Moving on to another politically affiliated controversial person, Robert Vadra. While the National Herald case still haunts the Gandhis, their son-in-law Robert Vadra finds it hard to get out of his legal tangles as well. In a major setback today, the Rajasthan High Court refused to quash Enforcement Directorate's Bikaner land grab case proceedings against him, keeping him on tenterhooks. The court has announced that its verdict will be given after 2 weeks. Till then, however, Robert and his mother Maureen have immunity from custodial interrogation. This order today is significant since it implies that the court has over the trial found sufficient reason to allow the agencies to probe Robert Vadra. BJP says that the defense of political witch hunt by the Congress that was being levelled against the BJP falls flat.
There you can see Robert Vadra over here. Sir, just one response. So just one response from you, sir. Sir,
पुलिस केस करो इनके ऊपर. पुलिस केस करो इनके ऊपर.
Sir, just one response from you, sir. What will be your next course of action, sir? Well, there you can see Robert Vadra without, in fact, speaking, leaving his residence. Sir, just one response I'm asking, sir. There you can see Robert Vadra clearly avoiding the media.
Even today, after the High Court in its wisdom refused to throw out the ED case, as Vadra had pleaded for, the Congress still calls it a case of witch hunt. The BJP, however, calls it due diligence.
We've maintained a very clear stand on both these issues. The issue of witch hunting by the government, deliberate witch hunting of a private individual, and the unbridled control that this government has on these agencies, and the unbridled misuse of this agency. We keep exposing this blatant, brazen misuse by the Modi government of the agencies against not just the political rivals but their family members also.
देखिए, मोदी जी सरकार किसी के साथ पक्षपातपूर्ण रवैया या बदले की भावना से नहीं कर रही और करते तो हर किसी के लिए न्यायालय पड़े हुए हैं, लेकिन न्यायालय ने उनकी अपील को रिजेक्ट किया है। इसका मतलब है कोई ना कोई गड़बड़ है।
Moving on, introduction of Bhagavad Gita in NCERT textbooks has sparked a massive row with the opposition gunning for BJP over alleged saffronization of Indian education system. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, the government confirmed that NCERT textbooks will include references to Bhagavad Gita in class 6 and 7 and its shlokas in Sanskrit textbooks for classes 11 and 12. The government has cited provisions of the National Education Policy 2022 for the decision and says this has been done to teach students the Indian way of life, but the opposition has questioned the intent as well as the move, asking if India is a secular country and is a society with multiple communities, then textbooks being prescribed to the student must also reflect that.
एक सवाल ये भी कि एनसीईआरटी में गीता की पढ़ाई की जाएगी एनसीईआरटी के सिलेबस में, सोचेंगे उस बारे में?
I am not fully satisfied, but more than 50% I am satisfied because government has given a positive reply. As per the new education policy, it is implemented in the education policy. Now every state has to follow the guidelines of the central government. But at my own, I have started Bhagavad Gita's course in my electoral constituency with the help of ISKCON people. The Supreme Court also defined Hindu is a way of life. Hindutva is a way of life.
Somebody introduces it or not introduces it, or somebody makes it a issue or not makes it a issue. I think most of the people in our country who go to school do have an inquisitiveness about knowing about other religions, which is very good. And this and I think this is something which has actually made us one. This is something which has actually united us.
It's okay, let them have Bhagavad Gita, let them also have Mahabharata, let them also have Holy Bible, let them also have Quran, let them also have Guru Granth Sahib. the Sikh thing. So let them only do this. Where do you, as a government, it is your constitutional responsibility to keep it irreligious.
देखिए होना चाहिए, कोई खराब तो है ही नहीं अगर गीता का या बाइबल का कोई पढ़ा रहे हैं। मैं जहाँ तक समझता हूँ रिलीजियस बुक जो आदमी पढ़ेगा तो उसमें तो स्पिरिचुअलिटी सीखेगा, उससे वो मॉरल टीचिंग भी उससे आएगा। तो गीता हो, बाइबल हो, कुरान हो, इसका कोई इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर अगर पढ़ाया जाए तो मैं समझता हूँ इंसान को जो जिस धर्म का है अपने रिलीजियस बुक को तो वो सम्मान की नज़र से देखते हैं। और मैं जहाँ तक समझता हूँ, मुझे जहाँ तक स्टडी है, किसी की धर्म की किताब लोगों को बुराई की तरफ नहीं ले जाते।
Time for me to take a very quick break, but do not go anywhere, because on the other side we will show you videos that will send shivers down your spine. This is the truth that China wants to hide, but the world must see, especially us, because we need to be prepared for similar eventualities.
इनकेस आप मिलेनियन वाली जनरेशन से हैं तो आपने शायद वो गाना सुना होगा, देखा जो तुझे यार दिल में बजी गिटार। सो कुछ ऐसे अगर आप मूड में हैं तो यहाँ पे ये गिटार की स्ट्रिंग्स टाइप दी गई हैं, एग्जैक्टली स्ट्रिंग्स नहीं है बट ऐसे कुछ मूड में है तो आप इनका इस्तेमाल उस समय जरूर कर सकते हैं। अब आप समझ गए होंगे कि गाड़ी कौन सी है, हाल ही में इसका लॉन्च हुआ था। ये है BYD की Atto 3 और क्या परफॉर्मेंस, क्या रेंज, क्या डिजाइन, क्या फीचर्स BYD अपने इस इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में दे रहा है, उन सभी के बारे में मैं आपसे बात करने वाला हूं इस वीडियो में। और वीडियो के अंत में हमेशा की तरह बात करेंगे 3 धांसू और 3 नॉट सो धांसू एलिमेंट्स मुझे क्या लगे इस BYD Atto 3 के बारे में। तो चलिए शुरुआत करते हैं। तो शुरुआत कर लेते हैं इस Atto 3 के डिजाइन वाले एस्पेक्ट से। तो फ्रंट में BYD का कहना है ये गाड़ी का डिजाइन जो है ओवरऑल ड्रैगन इंस्पायर्ड है, चाइनीज ब्रांड है, तो कुछ वैसा ही एसेंस BYD कह रही है हमने इस गाड़ी के डिजाइन और स्टाइलिंग में देने की कोशिश करी है। हालांकि ड्रैगन इंस्पायर्ड तो मुझे फ्रंट ज्यादा नहीं लग रहा है, बट फिर भी यहाँ पे सेंटर में बड़ा सा BYD का लोगो है, क्रोम का एलिमेंट दिया गया है थ्रू आउट जो जाता है इसके फ्रंट हेडलाइट के ऊपर से सेंटर तक। एंड हेडलाइट जो है क्रिस्टल LED कॉम्बिनेशन लाइट्स यहाँ पर इसमें देखने को मिल रही हैं। एंड DRL देख रहे हैं, देखने में खूबसूरत ही काफी लग रहा है। इसका फ्रंट जो लाइट का सेक्शन है काफी स्लीक कॉम्पैक्ट इसका हेडलाइट का डिजाइन लग रहा है। एंड जो टर्न इंडिकेटर्स हैं वो भी इसके DRL में ही इंटीग्रेटेड हैं, तो यहाँ पे जब इसको टर्न इंडिकेटर ऑन होंगे तो ये DRL टर्न इंडिकेटर का काम भी करेगा। इसके अलावा इलेक्ट्रिक गाड़ी है तो फ्रंट में कुछ यहाँ पे इवेंट वगैरह देखने को नहीं मिलेगा, ऑब्वियस है। एंड इसमें जो है ADAS लेवल 2 के फीचर्स देख सकते हैं आप, यहाँ सेंसर्स वगैरह, रेडार वगैरह यहाँ पे इसमें देखने को मिल रहा है। एंड 360 डिग्री कैमरा यहाँ पर इस BYD की Atto 3 में इधर दिया गया है। साइड प्रोफाइल पे आए तो यहाँ पर जो टायर्स इसमें दिए गए हैं वो हैं 18 इंच के 215 सेक्शन के टायर्स दिए गए हैं। एंड यहाँ पे जो डिजाइन है एलॉयस का ये भी थोड़ा स्पोर्टी स्टाइलिश देखने में जरूर लग रहा है। BYD का हब यहाँ पे सेंटर में दिया गया है व्हील में। एंड ओवरऑल जो यहाँ पे डिजाइन है, यहाँ पे क्लैडिंग थ्रू आउट जाती हुई आपको पीछे तक इसमें देखने को मिलेगी। BYD डिजाइन की बैजिंग यहाँ दी गई है क्रोम में। यहाँ पे जो है इसका ये चार्जिंग सॉकेट है। एंड इसका जो चार्जिंग सॉकेट है वो आप एक्सटर्नल पावर कहीं आपको देनी है, छोटा मोटा कुछ आपको कॉफी मशीन टाइप, छोटा मोटा फ्रिज आपको यहाँ पे इससे एक्टिवेट करना है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी देनी है वहाँ पे, तो उसका इस्तेमाल इस तरह से भी करा जा सकता है। तो ये एक ऑप्शन BYD ने इस Atto 3 में दिया है। इन साइड प्रोफाइल में क्रोम का एलिमेंट थ्रू आउट इसके विंडोज के आसपास। एंड यहाँ पर थोड़ा ये सिल्वर टच इसके रूफ रेल में इधर देखने को मिल रहा है। डोर हैंडल्स जो हैं बॉडी कलर है। एंड ORVM जो है इसमें जो है हीटेड का भी ऑप्शन दिया गया है, तो हीटेड ORVMs है। एंड ब्लाइंड स्पॉट मॉनिटरिंग के फीचर्स ऑब्वियसली यहाँ देखने को मिलेंगे क्योंकि ADAS लेवल 2 के सेफ्टी फीचर्स इसमें दिए गए हैं। एंड नीचे डोर्स में भी थोड़ा ब्लैक और ये बॉडी कलर कॉम्बिनेशन इसके डोर्स में नीचे देखने को मिल रहा है। साइड से डिजाइन में कहूँ बहुत ज्यादा फ्यूचरिस्टिक नहीं लग रहा, बट ओवरऑल देखने में अच्छा जरूर लग रहा है। इसके अलावा रियर में आए तो रियर में यहाँ पे थोड़ा स्पॉइलर वाला फील दिया गया है इधर, एंड पियानो ब्लैक और ये बॉडी कलर ब्लू के कॉम्बिनेशन में अच्छा सेक्शन, जो इंटरेस्टिंग सेक्शन इन टर्म्स ऑफ डिजाइन मुझे लगता है वो है इसका ये टेल लाइट का डिजाइन। जो ये स्ट्रिप जा रही है इसकी टेल लाइट की जरूरत है। अब अमूमन ऑलमोस्ट सभी गाड़ियों में ये डिजाइन एलिमेंट हमें देखने को मिल रहा है, बट यहाँ पे इस BYD के 803 में भी ये अच्छा देखने में, रियर प्रोफाइल फ्रंट प्रोफाइल के मुकाबले मुझे ज्यादा बेहतर देखने में जरूर लग रहा है। क्रोम का एलिमेंट भी थोड़ा है, एंड BYD की फुल फॉर्म अगर आपको नहीं पता इनकेस तो इन्होंने बड़ा बड़ा यहाँ लिखा है, बिल्ड योर ड्रीम्स। एंड इधर 803 की बैजिंग है, एंड लेफ्ट साइड में जाएं तो यहाँ पर इसका EV का बैजिंग इधर दिया गया है। सेंसर्स थ्रू आउट इसमें देखने को मिलेंगे, 360 डिग्री कैमरा यहाँ पे इसमें दिया गया है। एंड बूट को ओपन करने के लिए वन टच एंड बूट ओपन इसका हो जाएगा। ओवरऑल जो स्पेस है अभी फिलहाल सेकंड रो अप है, तो ओवरऑल स्पेस जो है वो है 440 लीटर्स का, बट अगर आप सेकंड रो डाउन करते हैं तकरीबन स्पेस हो जाता है 1340 1300।
Welcome back. Just when the world seemed to be limping back to normalcy ahead of the festive season, looking forward to enjoying a little bit of holidays after surviving a crippling Delta wave, images and figures emerging from China have become an ominous reminder of the horror that we thought was over. The threat that might have been out of mind but was still lurking around and is now back in sight, and it could possibly be worse than ever before. As we speak, estimates suggest that China, struggling to contain possibly the biggest COVID-19 outbreak in the world has ever seen, may be recording 1 million COVID-19 cases and 5,000 deaths every 24 hours. Let's now take you through a couple of visuals that are difficult to watch and have now gone viral on social media. The first one on your screens right now is being posted by China expert Jennifer Zheng. A young woman in this video can be seen visibly struggling to breathe. After a while, you can see her collapsing on the floor. Horrified people around her then call for a doctor, but no medical help is in sight or arrives later. Watch this frightful reminder of how Chinese are drowning in the latest wave. Now, such is the deluge of cases that the health infrastructure in China is completely overwhelmed. The image on your screen is a witness to that. It is said to be from Chong Medical University Hospital. The facility has run out of beds, forced to put even elderly patients on the floor. According to Jennifer Zheng, who posted this image, the machines that you see on the chest of the elderly patients there are used to replace the human hand that is supposed to press the heart. And if you thought that was worrisome, reports suggest that daily new cases in China could increase up to 3.7 million by the next month and a frightening 4.2 million by March next year. All the patients that you see in this video have been reported as suffering from severe pneumonia and respiratory failure, and this sharp spike is way beyond what China can handle or wants the world to know about.
Official media of the Chinese Communist Party is totally untrustworthy, and it is harder and harder for foreign journalists to get the true information from the ground, because they are either not allowed to get access to the true information, or they don't have that kind of manpower. A different channel or different source of information, we can confirm the situation is really very bad in Beijing.
Now look at another video. This was reportedly posted by a man in Sichuan with the caption, "Have you seen hell?"
life-saving procedures being conducted in waiting lounges, long unending queues of mourning patients, corridors at hospitals lined up with people who are in all likelihood going to die because of lack of health facilities. These scenes have become more of a norm than an aberration in China, and the country might be trying to suppress casualty figures, but for the families of the deceased, the loss is immeasurable. At China-Japan Friendship Hospital in Beijing, the visual that you see right now is of a man who recorded that video as he counted how many bodies were lying in body bags in a corridor. He starts with 1, 2, 3, ends up with 19. 19 families deprived of their young ones, and the dead deprived of dignity even after their demise. Now joining me on the broadcast is Joshua Phillip. He is an investigative reporter. Thank you for speaking with the Times Now, Mr. Phillip. How dire is the situation in China in your view? Because as we all know, that country is never known to be transparent when it comes to things like this.
Well, the situation in China right now, I can tell you what I am hearing through my sources, and I have a lot of sources in China on the ground who are watching this. The Chinese Communist Party right now is reeling from the virus. You may have seen videos of people dying in hospitals and so on. This is real, and this is not something the CCP wants people to know. Actually, the opposite is the fact. The CCP really wants to cover this up. The narrative the CCP has been pushing, the Chinese Communist Party, is that they have zero COVID, meaning that they say they're not tolerating any virus cases, that they're saying the CCP model, the Chinese Communist Party's model of government, is working. That's their narrative. We see the opposite. We see that the lockdowns, the mask mandates, the vaccine mandates, all these things, the vaccine passports, which the CCP has been pushing harder than any other country on earth, are not working, and people are dying in droves right now. The CCP model is failing, and this damages their narrative. This goes very much against their interest, the fact this information is coming out.
Now, Mr. Phillip, despite social media restrictions in China, we've seen pictures and videos of hospitals overwhelmed with COVID cases, and in some videos, even bodies can be seen piling up. How do you think it affects Chinese President Xi Jinping's global image?
Very much. This is very damaging to the global image of the Chinese Communist Party, and the reason being, the CCP has been telling the world there's no new virus cases in China. If there's like 1 or 2 cases in any given city, they lock that city down. CCP officials, because they will get punished, a lot of CCP officials will get punished if there are too many virus cases in their cities. And so this has incentivized many of them to not report cases, or to take overly tough methods in dealing with it. Now, that I think has caused 2 different problems. I'd say there's 2 different things at play. On one side, one of the problems this has caused is it's made it so a lot of people have no natural immunity. Yes, the CCP has a Sinovac vaccine. Yes, a lot of people in China has probably more vaccinated people probably anywhere else in the world because they pushed it so hard. And so, vaccination is not really the issue here. What you're seeing, though, is the fact that a lot of people have never actually had the virus. People have never gotten sick from it because they've been locked down over and over and over again. Meaning that you're seeing the lockdown policies are having an opposite effect. The CCP model has had an opposite effect. The deaths you're watching are very likely being caused by the CCP model itself.
Now, according to experts, the recent surge of cases in China is linked to the state's easing of its strict zero COVID policy. Mr. Phillip, what is your take on this? Do you believe that we are seeing the disastrous consequences of a zero COVID policy right now?
Well, the CCP's zero COVID policy was basically, lockdowns, immediately throw people in their homes if there's any cases. I think the narrative that this is being caused by, that the new deaths are being caused by an easing up of those policies, I think that's total nonsense. I think that's what the CCP is using as their propaganda point to try to, basically write off responsibility, saying, look, we tried telling you to stay locked down, we tried warning you, and now you're dying and it's all your fault. I don't think that's an accurate narrative. But again, if the CCP were to use a propaganda line, that's what they're going to be saying.
Right, it is their propaganda that will end up killing thousands of others because the proper cautions will not be taken. There will be people traveling from China to other countries carrying this infection with them, but which is why everybody needs to be careful. Thank you, Mr. Philip, for joining us on this broadcast. We move on as COVID cases surge across the world. India is also obviously readying itself to fight against the virus. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself chaired a crucial meeting with his ministers and top officials to review the situation back home. Times now has learned that in this interaction, Prime Minister cautioned against complacency and laid emphasis on the need for strengthening surveillance with focus on genome sequencing and increased testing. He also stressed on adherence to COVID-appropriate behavior, including wearing of masks, and that precautionary doses for elderly and vulnerables also would be administered was discussed at this interaction. As India steps up its vaccination coverage, the expert committee which approves these vaccines has now also given its nod to a nasal vaccine, which is going to be a big boost for India's vaccination program.
पिछले कई दिनों से पूरी दुनिया में कोविड-19 के केसों में वृद्धि दर्ज की जा रही है, लेकिन पिछले एक साल में भारत में कोविड केसों में सतत कमी दर्ज होती रही है। चुनौतियां पैदा हो रही है, उस पर सरकार लगातार कदम उठा रही है। राज्यों को भी स्थानीय स्तर पर सामुदायिक निगरानी बढ़ाने के लिए और कोविड को नियंत्रित करने के लिए सलाह दी जा रही है। राज्यों को जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग बढ़ाकर सभी पॉजिटिव केसों का जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग करने की सलाह दी गई है। आने वाले त्योहार और नए साल को ध्यान में रखते हुए राज्यों को सतर्क रहकर लोगों का मास्क पहनना, हैंड सैनिटाइजर करना, रिस्पायरेटरी हाइजीन का ख्याल रखना और सामाजिक दूरी बनाए रखने की जागरूकता लानी चाहिए।
After advisories having been issued to the states, let's take a look at how they are gearing up in their fight against COVID.
कोविड के बढ़ते मामलों को देखते हुए और खासकर जो नया वेरिएंट BS.7 है उसको देखते हुए केंद्र सरकार ने सभी राज्यों को गाइडलाइंस जारी की हैं, जिसके बाद जो टेस्टिंग है उसको तेज कर दिया गया है। इस वक्त हम चंडीगढ़ के सेक्टर 16 हॉस्पिटल में हैं, जहां चंडीगढ़ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने ये गाइडलाइंस जारी की हैं कि ओपीडी में आने वाले जितने भी पेशेंट हैं, चाहे वो किसी भी बीमारी से पीड़ित हो, उनका कोविड टेस्ट RT-PCR जो टेस्ट है वो मैंडेटरी कर दिया गया है, नहीं कि आवश्यक कर दिया गया है। और अब देखिए यहाँ पर जो टेस्टिंग है वो शुरू कर दी गई है। ये कोविड-19 टेस्टिंग पॉइंट है, सेक्टर 16 हॉस्पिटल है जो चंडीगढ़ का, वहां पर बनाया गया है और वहां पर आने वाले जो तमाम मरीज हैं उनका अब कोविड टेस्ट किया जा रहा है। जिस तरीके से चाहे चाइना की हम बात कर लें, वहां पर भयावह स्थिति से बनी हुई है। हालांकि चंडीगढ़ में फिलहाल कोई एक्टिव पेशेंट कोविड का नहीं है, लेकिन हरियाणा में इस वक्त करीब 20 एक्टिव केसेस हैं, पंजाब में करीब 9 एक्टिव केसेस हैं और हिमाचल में ये संख्या 3 से 4 है। लेकिन एहतियातन तमाम राज्यों ने अपने अपने प्रयास शुरू कर दिए हैं, चाहे हरियाणा हो, पंजाब हो। स्वास्थ्य विभाग हरकत में आ गया है। आइसोलेशन वार्ड की बात करें, बेड्स की बात करें, ऑक्सीजन प्लांट्स की बात करें, ऑक्सीजन बेड्स की बात करें, उसकी तमाम व्यवस्था की गई है। पंजाब के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री चेतन सिंह जोड़ा माजरा और हरियाणा के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री अनिल विज सभी ने कहा है कि हम पूरी तरीके से तैयार हैं और जो भी केंद्र की गाइडलाइंस होंगी उनकी पालना यहां पर की जाएगी। और देखिए किस तरीके से जो चंडीगढ़ है, यूटी ने भी इसको मैंडेटरी कर दिया है और जितने भी पेशेंट यहां ओपीडी में आ रहे हैं सबकी इस वक्त टेस्टिंग की जा रही है। ये सेक्टर 16 चंडीगढ़ है, जहां पर इस वक्त टेस्टिंग प्रोसेस जो है कोविड की वो चल रही है और कोशिश यही है कि जो खतरा दिखाई दे रहा है, जो संभावित खतरा है, उसको आने से पहले ही रोका जाए या उसको काबू में रखा जाए।
Top virologist in India, former DG of CSIR and a former secretary of DSIR, Dr. Shekhar Mandey, has reacted to the situation of COVID in India. He is sending a message: don't panic. India is not going to go China way.
So to call USA and China and Western Europe way ahead in healthcare than India, I think that was a myth that has been busted during COVID period. All Indians should be very proud the way COVID pandemic was tackled in India. all Indians should be very proud the way COVID pandemic was tackled in India. We unfortunately lost about 500,000 lives to COVID, but nonetheless, the way we have handled COVID has been much better. It's a lesson to the world that how COVID could be handled. We were very quick on getting our vaccine trials on time. We were very quick to give approvals to our vaccines. We were very quick in distributing 2.2 billion doses.